Chapter 3672. Brat, which corner of the starry sky world did you come from? Immediately, a myriad race cultivator mocked him. Lin Feng was a human. These myriad race cultivators looked down on humans to begin with. Therefore, they looked down on Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't be bothered with those small fries. His gaze. He was still looking at the myriad race cultivator beside him. That myriad race cultivator cleared his throat. He decided to show off in front of everyone. He liked the feeling of pointing at the world. Because he felt that this was really cool. In the immortal era, the order of cultivation was rebuilt. That was an era when the world of cultivators went from being weak to being prosperous again. And the myriad races had three peerless powerhouses who rose up. They were the three saints of the myriad races. These three peerless powerhouses were unparalleled and invincible. They dominated the myriad worlds and were invincible. This myriad race cultivator reached an exciting part and was in high spirits. Lin Feng said, "Wasn't the only sovereign of the immortal era the Lord of Gods? Countless forces, countless races. They are all nothing more than the subjects of the Master of Gods." This myriad race cultivator coughed dryly twice, then glared at Lin Feng and said, "What Lord of Gods? This is just a character in myths and legends. If there really is a character like the Lord of Gods, then he should have a very powerful family, right? He should have descendants, right? But does he have any? He doesn't. That's why. The Lord of Gods is simply a fiction." That's right. The Lord of Gods is just a character in myths and legends. Brat, don't take myths and legends for real. Many people were talking at once. Lin Feng was silent. After the collapse of the pre-celestial era, the order of the cultivator's world was reconstructed. The Lord of Gods who reconstructed the cultivation system. He had actually become a fleeting figure. It really made people sigh with emotion. Lin Feng really wanted to say, he had descendants. The descendants of the Lord of Gods were standing in front of you bastards. But Lin Feng, in the end, he held back. He did not say these words. Because there was no need to argue with these people. What is the current responsibility of the myriad races' divine temple? Lin Feng asked. Legacy. The myriad races cultivator said with a fascinated expression. What kind of legacy? Lin Feng asked. It said, that place. Not only did he possess all kinds of 3,000 great das, most importantly, that place has many heaven-defying abilities that have been lost. The myriad races cultivator said, a lost heaven-defying divine ability? Lin Feng was surprised. 3,000 great das. It was the foundation of achieving the Tao. The 3,000 great das were naturally extremely important to cultivators. However, to be honest, among the 3,000 great das, apart from the great das that were ranked at the top, the offensive power of those great das was stronger. The other 3,000 great Tao had average attack power, a true offensive divine ability. Furthermore, it was a top-notch inheritance like a thought flower blooms, sovereign descends to the world. Once a cultivator became an immortal emperor, their great Tao foundation would be set. At that time, there would not be much need for the 3,000 great das. And at this moment, he needed to cultivate more offensive divine arts to increase his combat strength. After hearing Lin Feng's question, the myriad races cultivator said, it's the legacy of some top experts of the innate life form era. In the past, the three sacred ancestors went to many places and collected those top inheritances. The immortal technique level attack techniques are only the most ordinary. Lin Feng was shocked. The myriad races divine temple. It was actually so heaven-defying. What a good place. Now, Lin Feng suddenly had the urge to ransack the myriad races' divine temple. Of course, Lin Feng knew this was not an easy task. The myriad races' divine temple was one of the sacred grounds of the myriad races. There must be many terrifying existences guarding it. The myriad races cultivator continued. The myriad races' divine temple appeared 3,000 years ago. The Sacred War Alliance, the Immortal Alliance, and the Demon Alliance discussed and let the young experts hold a competition. The top 100 geniuses are qualified to enter the myriad race's divine temple to cultivate for a maximum of 3,000 years. If they withdraw midway, they will not be able to enter again. Every cultivator of the myriad races only has one chance to enter the myriad races' divine temple in their lives. But it's really too difficult to seize this opportunity, because the cultivators who participate in the battle are all top young experts of the major forces with a lifespan of less than 30,000 years. It's easier said than done to stand out among so many experts. So, once qualified to enter, basically no one will come out early who would give up the opportunity to cultivate inside. Moreover, every time you cultivate a powerful divine ability, your combat strength will increase by a large margin. Now that 3,000 years have passed, it seems that a new round of competition will begin soon. Stop talking. I'm so depressed. The surrounding myriad races cultivators said gloomily. They didn't even have the chance to participate in this competition, because the cultivators who could participate in the competition were all powerful. Moreover, they needed to bring a recommendation token. Only then could they register. Lin Feng couldn't help but touch his chin. This myriad race's divine temple was really tempting. Could he go in and get a few powerful divine abilities to cultivate? Now that Lin Feng had cultivated all 3,000 great Daos, his great Dao foundation was extremely strong. However, Lin Feng felt that he had cultivated too few top-tier divine abilities. Many of the divine abilities that he had cultivated in the past were no longer useful. It was time. He should cultivate a few more top-tier divine abilities. But that was the myriad race's divine temple. He didn't seem to be able to enter. Perhaps he could go to the Immortal Gods Alliance to take a look, because there were 3 human experts in the Immortal Gods Alliance. They were the big shots in the Immortal Gods Alliance. With their help, he might be able to participate in that competition. At this moment, a group of people riding on flaming dragon lions passed by where Lin Feng and the others were standing. Lin Yunsheng, this woman, she was wearing a fiery red dress that wrapped around her sexy and voluptuous body. This woman had flaming red lips. She was really a stunner. She had a powerful cultivation and was born in the myriad race's divine temple. She had even entered the myriad race's divine temple to cultivate. This woman was probably a goddess in the hearts of countless people in the myriad races. However, this woman did indeed have the aura of a goddess. Lin Feng quickly left. He planned to find a place to stay first. In the crowd, a pair of venomous eyes stared at the departing Lin Feng. Little bastard, just you wait. Very soon, you'll die a horrible death. Hee hee. The owner of the pair of venomous eyes laughed eerily, like the laughter of a malicious spirit. That person was very scary. He had been following Lin Feng. However, Chapter 3673. Lin Feng found a place to stay for the time being. Then, he planned to inquire about the various things that happened during this period of time. Lin Feng came to the Bai Shao Pavilion to inquire about the news. First, it was about the alliance between the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance. It was said that the two alliances were planning to deal with the Sacred War Alliance together. This made the higher-ups of the Sacred War Alliance very anxious. In addition to the alliance between the two alliances, there was also the arrest warrant issued by the Sacred War Alliance. There were 2 arrest warrants. The first arrest warrant was for Immeasurable Taoist. Immeasurable Taoist's bounty was 300 million immortal stones. Immortal stones here referred to ordinary immortal stones that could be exchanged for high-grade immortal stones. The second arrest warrant was for Lin Feng. Lin Feng's bounty was a shocking 700 million immortal stones. This was also the highest bounty in the history of the Sacred War Alliance. Obviously, the people of the Sacred War Alliance were very afraid of Lin Feng. They wanted to get rid of Lin Feng as soon as possible. Lin Feng's existence made many forces of the Sacred War Alliance very afraid. However, after searching for Lin Feng and Immeasurable Taoist for a period of time, no one was able to find their whereabouts. In addition, the news of the alliance between the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance spread. Therefore, now, everyone's attention was on the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance. The number of cultivators paying attention to Lin Feng and Immeasurable Taoist also decreased by a lot. The Alliance Army of the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance constantly had conflicts with the Sacred War Alliance. The two sides had already fought several times. Many people were paying attention to the tense situation in the heavenly sage great world. There were rumors. It was the 3 human experts of the Immortal God Alliance who led this alliance. The 3 human experts of the Immortal God Alliance hated the 10,000 races of the Sacred War Alliance. They had always been the pro-war faction, and the 3 of them were high scepters. They had a strong right to speak. There was news. It was said that the Sacred War Alliance sent experts to assassinate the 3 human experts of the Immortal God Alliance. As long as they could kill the 3 human experts of the Immortal God Alliance, then the alliance between the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance would collapse. At that time, the Immortal God Alliance and the Demon Alliance would no longer pose such a big threat to the Sacred War Alliance. Lin Feng found out a lot of information. He was still in the area ruled by the Holy War Alliance. Lin Feng planned to head to the region ruled by the Immortal God Alliance. Of course, he could also observe the situation for a while before making a decision. Lin Feng wanted to go to the Celestial Gods Alliance because of the 3 strong cultivators from the Celestial Gods Alliance. Lin Feng wanted to borrow the other party's power to enter the myriad race's sacred grounds to learn top-notch offensive divine abilities. But the key point was that Lin Feng didn't know much about those 3 human experts, although they were all humans. But he was a cultivator of 9 regions, and the other party was not a cultivator of 9 regions. There was no knowing what was in a person's heart. When he was outside, he had to be on guard. What should he do next? Lin Feng planned to think about it over the next few days. After Lin Feng came out of the all-seeing pavilion, he walked towards the black market. After arriving at the Withered City, Lin Feng had heard that the black market in Withered Silent City was one of the most famous black markets in the heavenly sage great world. On this trip, naturally, he wanted to see if there was anything he needed in the black market. Now, Lin Feng was in a hurry to obtain some precious insect materials. First of all, he had to nurture the Emperor Archaic. The insect materials of the primordial ancestral insect were almost used up. It was time to replenish. Secondly, Lin Feng needed to buy insect materials to nurture the primordial demon refining insect queen. The primordial demon refining insects that Lin Feng had nurtured were all killed by the immortal corpse. Now, he needed to nurture them again. Finally, Lin Feng needed to find insect materials to nurture the celestial devouring insect queen. He hoped that the celestial devouring insect queen could also lay eggs soon. But these insect materials were extremely precious. The most important thing was that these insect materials were extremely rare. As for the little dragon, Lin Feng was rather relieved. Ever since this little guy was born, it got along well with BB and Dragon Rabbit. Moreover, this little guy also ate all kinds of spirit essences with BB and Dragon Rabbit to satisfy its hunger. The 3 little guys had extremely crafty appetites. They didn't even smell spirit essences that were less than 500,000 years old. Many of Lin Feng's million-year-old spirit herbs, and spirit fruits were ruined by the 3 little guys. Lin Feng could only smile bitterly. These things would be of great use to the growth of the 3 little guys. Since they wanted to eat, he couldn't stop them from eating, right? The black street of Withered Silent City was very lively. There were many stalls on both sides of the street. There were also shops at the back. Most of the things on those stalls were worthless, but there was no lack of good things. This required a cultivator's eyesight. There was a huge commotion in front. Many people were alarmed and surrounded it. Lin Feng also walked over and found that more than a dozen cultivators had surrounded a Taoist priest's stall. They directly smashed all the things on the Taoist priest's stall into pieces. What are you doing? The Taoist priest was quite old, and he had the demeanor of a transcendent being. But now, the morale of this group of cultivators was not low. This was because he had just set up his stall. His stall was smashed by someone else. Who would have encountered such a terrible thing? They would be in a bad mood. If it wasn't for your age, I would have slapped you. I hate immoral Taoists like you the most. The leader of the cultivators said fiercely. This was an expert of the 3-eyed ox demon. He had a typical temper. He was quite fiery. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done something like smashing someone's stall. You're going too far. The old Taoist priest was so angry that his face turned ashen. Damn it. Why didn't Taoist Wu Liang say that when he dug up my ancestor's grave? You're all Taoists. I think you're in cahoots. The three-eyed ox demon said fiercely. Lin Feng couldn't help but slap his head. It seemed that this old Taoist priest was implicated by Taoist Wu Liang. The three-eyed ox demon immediately thought that this old Taoist priest was in cahoots with Taoist Wu Liang. He was really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. What Taoist Wu Liang? I don't know this person at all. The old Taoist priest was speechless. Hurry up and get out of Witherness City. Otherwise, this Lord Ox will beat you until half your body is paralyzed. Do you believe me? The three-eyed ox demon waved his fist and threatened. The old Taoist priest said, "Everything is about reason. You think I'm afraid of you when you're making trouble without reason? You have to compensate me for my losses. Damn, this old Taoist priest is really lost. His life is more important at this time. Why does he want compensation?" Lin Feng was speechless. You still dare to ask for compensation? I'll beat you until your peach blossoms bloom. The three-eyed ox demon heard that the old Taoist wanted compensation. His temper immediately flared up. Chapter 3674. The huge fist was about to hit the old Taoist. At this moment, crack, a palm reached out. He grabbed the fist. The person who attacked. It was Lin Feng. Although this old Taoist looked rather pedantic. However, the old Taoist was innocent. He was implicated by a miserable Taoist. Lin Feng naturally had to help a miserable Taoist take care of these matters. After all, he was a miserable Taoist's good friend. Kid, did you eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall? You even dare to interfere in my matters? The three-eyed bull demon looked at Lin Feng fiercely. His eyes were the size of copper bells. His eyes were wide open as if he wanted to eat Lin Feng. Who is this kid? He actually dares to meddle in other people's business? Is he tired of living? He seems to be a human cultivator. Is he from the outer realm? Or is he a human cultivator from the Immortal God Alliance? Who cares where he's from? This is the territory ruled by the Sacred War Alliance. Here, even if the 3 human supremes of the Immortal God Alliance came, they would have to tuck their tails between their legs. Many cultivators of the myriad races immediately began to discuss. They were very arrogant. They didn't take a young human cultivator like Lin Feng seriously at all. These people didn't recognize Lin Feng's true identity. This was because when Lin Feng was transcending the tribulation, he was transcending the tribulation in the lonely ancient forest. That place. Ordinary people didn't dare to go there. The cultivators of the lonely ancient state who went to watch Lin Feng transcend the tribulation. They were too far away from Lin Feng and couldn't see what Lin Feng looked like. As for Lin Feng's portrait, it couldn't be spread. This was because Lin Feng's providence was monstrous. In the unseen world, a powerful providence was protecting Lin Feng. If someone wanted to spread Lin Feng's portrait, those portraits would quickly combust. Actually, it wasn't just Lin Feng. This kind of thing would happen to many cultivators with powerful providence. For example, Gong Nye, powerful providence. If others wanted to spread Gong Xinye's portrait, it would be detrimental to Gong Xinye. Those portraits would also spontaneously combust. This was also the reason why it was not easy for experts to be wanted in the world of cultivators. It was impossible to draw a portrait. Comparatively speaking, it was much more difficult. Therefore, if one wanted to find the whereabouts of these people, they would often need some supreme treasures. For example, a treasure like the Heavenly Cycle Mirror could explore the Heavenly Cycle. When Lin Feng appeared within a certain range, he could sense Lin Feng's whereabouts. However, such a treasure was not something that an ordinary power could possess. Lin Feng looked at the three-eyed ox demon cultivator and said, "Since you've destroyed someone else's belongings, you should pay up. Take out 1,000 immortal stones as compensation, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll cripple your arm. Go to hell." The three-eyed demonic ox roared furiously. The other fist also smashed towards Lin Feng. However, he had just punched out. Lin Feng suddenly tightened his grip on the three-eyed ox demon's fist. A heart-wrenching pain immediately engulfed his entire body. Ah! The three-eyed ox demon couldn't help but cry out miserably. He even thought that his bones would be instantly broken by Lin Feng. The fist that was originally smashing towards Lin Feng was also quickly pulled back. It hurts. It hurts. Hurry up and let go of me. The three-eyed ox demon shouted loudly. Take out the immortal stones. Lin Feng said indifferently. Take out your sister. All of you, attack. Cripple this little bastard. The three-eyed ox demon roared in exasperation. Several cultivators beside the three-eyed ox demon ferociously pounced towards Lin Feng. Scram! Lin Feng coldly looked at them. When his eyes met Lin Feng's expression changed. Those cultivators. Their faces became as pale as paper. Thump! Thump! One by one, they actually knelt on the ground. Lin Feng didn't release any pressure on them. However, an expert like Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a trace of pressure. It was enough to make these ordinary cultivators unbearable. So, these cultivators, they directly collapsed. What's going on? The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were all dumbfounded. The fight hadn't even started yet. Kneeling to the other party first. Could this be a new duel ritual? But obviously not at all. Although this human cultivator is young, he doesn't seem to be someone to be trifled with. A cultivator from the myriad races said. Many people agreed with what the cultivator from the myriad races said. They also felt that Lin Feng wasn't someone to be trifled with. Although Lin Feng looked really harmless, he looked like a big brother next door. But what kind of person was Lin Feng in reality? One couldn't just look at his appearance. The three-eyed ox demon also felt that things weren't going well. His heart couldn't help but sink slightly. He said, All right, I'll give it to you, but you have to let me go first. Lin Feng let go of the three-eyed ox demon cultivator. He wasn't afraid that he would play any tricks. If he dared to play any tricks, when the time came, he would break all four of his legs. Shwa. The three-eyed ox demon cultivator took out 1,000 immortal stones and handed them to Lin Feng. Looking at these immortal stones, the corner of his mouth twitched violently a few times. Immortal stones were precious. After so many years, he had only saved up a little more than 3,000. Now, he spat out 1,000 immortal stones at once. 1/3 of his wealth. He was about to vomit blood. Let's go. The three-eyed ox demon cultivator left with his subordinates in a hurry. Continue to stay here. It was too embarrassing. Retreat first. Find an opportunity to take revenge and wash away his previous shame. Wasn't there a saying that it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge? If he was a man, he had to be able to pick up and let go. Moreover, he didn't need 10 years to take revenge. The three-eyed ox demon cultivator comforted himself like this. His heart finally felt a little better. Taoist priest, the immortal stones are all compensation for you. Lin Feng handed all the immortal stones to the old Taoist priest. The old Taoist priest said, There's no need for so many. 10 is enough. Lin Feng didn't care about these immortal stones. He felt that the old Taoist priest was implicated by immeasurable Taoist. The extra immortal stones. Just take it as compensation. Lin Feng said, When you go out with immortal stones, you will have more confidence. Before those three-eyed ox demons come to find trouble, Taoist priest, quickly leave. Thank you, benefactor. Good people will be rewarded. The old Taoist priest said and kept the immortal stones. After hesitating for a while, the old Taoist priest wanted to say something but stopped. Taoist priest, do you have anything else to say? Lin Feng asked. To thank you for your great kindness, I have divined for you. If you are in danger in the future, you can open this brocade pouch. The old Taoist priest took out a brocade pouch and handed it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. This old Taoist priest cultivation was so weak. How good could his divination skills be? He actually divined for him and even left behind such a brocade pouch. Perhaps this old Taoist priest's divination skills were inferior to his, although he couldn't be considered particularly proficient in divination skills. Fortunately, he had obtained the inheritance of Fushi's Khanate 8 trigrams. Chapter 3675. Lin Feng did not refuse the old Taoist. He accepted the brocade pouch. It was not because he trusted the old Taoist's ability, but because he hoped that the old Taoist would leave as soon as possible. If he did not accept it, It was inevitable that they would be entangled again. Take care, benefactor. See you again if we are fated, the old Taoist said. Then he left. Lin Feng put the pouch into the mountain and river ring. Then he continued to walk into the black market. Lin Feng would sometimes stop at some small stalls. Then he would see if there was anything good. Maybe there was a treasure covered in dust? But if he wanted to find a dusty treasure from these small stalls, it was really not an easy task. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a shop. The name of this shop was There Is a Shop. This name was really strange. There was also a couplet in the shop. The left couplet read, "The past is billions of years old." The right couplet read, "All the treasures in the world belong to me." The horizontal scroll read, "Everything you need." After seeing this couplet and the horizontal scroll, Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. The content of this couplet was too good at bragging. Lin Feng walked towards the shop. In the shop, it was quite lively. People came and went. There were few people buying things and many people watching the show. After all, anyone who saw such a bragging couplet and horizontal scroll, they could not help but come in to see if the shop was really like what the couplet and horizontal scroll said. All the treasures in the world were here. This was a 3-story shop. The first floor was divided into counters. The counters were made of crystal and transparent. There were all kinds of items inside. Behind the counters were shelves of items. There was also a dazzling lineup of goods on them. The things here were more complicated. There were all kinds of secret manuals on arrays, cultivation manuals, and so on. There were also all kinds of formation materials. There were also forging materials. All kinds of items. It was simply everything. But these items, it couldn't attract Lin Feng's attention. Lin Feng noticed that a group of people were heading to the second floor. He walked up to the second floor as well. The entrance to the second floor was guarded by 2 guards. It seemed that not everyone was qualified to enter. "Young master, please wait. The second floor is only for VIPs," a guard said. Lin Feng slightly released his aura. The 2 guards immediately sensed something. They were as weak as ants. And this young master in front of him, he was like a high and mighty god. "Please forgive us, young master," the 2 guards hurriedly said. Who would dare to offend someone like Lin Feng? "Are you qualified to go up now?" Lin Feng asked indifferently. "Please," the 2 guards hurriedly said. Then he made a gesture of invitation. Lin Feng went up the stairs. They went up to the second floor. The second floor was similar to the first floor. There were many things placed there. However, there were far fewer people on the second floor. Of course, there was one difference between the second floor and the first floor. That was, there were many young girls on the second floor. They were all wearing the same clothes. They should be the salespeople here. They were fat and thin. They were all different. "Eat, eat, eat. I want to eat, eat, eat." Just as they arrived at the second floor, Xiaolong sent out a telepathic message. This little guy seemed to be extremely excited. It was as if, on the second floor, there was something. It seemed to be attracting the little guy. "Did you find something?" Lin Feng sent a telepathic message to Xiaolong. Dragon core. It's on the 3rd floor." Xiaolong shouted excitedly, wanting to rush out of the time and space. Lin Feng was shocked. It was a treasure like the dragon core that attracted Xiaolong. This shocked him greatly. Xiaolong was too extraordinary. Once it rushed out, Lin Feng was worried that it would cause unnecessary trouble. So he comforted Xiaolong. He asked him to wait for a while. Very soon, he would buy the dragon core for him. Only then did the little guy quiet down. Lin Feng walked straight to the 3rd floor. There were also guards on the 3rd floor. Seeing Lin Feng walking over, the guard said, "Young master, anyone who wants to go up to the 3rd floor needs a token." "Token? I don't have one, but I do have immortal stones." Lin Feng flicked his finger. 2 balls of light flew out. The 2 cultivators hurriedly kept them. They sensed it. They found that there were 100 immortal stones inside. They were instantly ecstatic. They looked around, worried that others would notice them. They found that no one had noticed them. Only then did they heave a sigh of relief. "Young master, please," the 2 guards said respectfully. Lin Feng was a little emotional. Money really made the world go round. These races usually thought highly of themselves. But in front of immortal stones, Weren't they all like grandchildren? Lin Feng walked towards the third floor. When he arrived at the third floor, Lin Feng found that there weren't many people here. There were more than a dozen salespeople. There were only 5 or 6 customers. There were more salespeople than customers. It seemed that they wanted to come up. It was indeed not easy. Eat, eat, eat. Xiaolong cried out excitedly, jumping in time and space. He danced with joy and excitement. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit looked at Xiaolong as if they were looking at a fool, looking at their disdainful gazes. It was as if they were saying that this guy was too ignorant. It was just an item. Was there a need to be so excited? Where is it? Lin Feng asked. There's a black stone in the third counter on the left. The dragon core is wrapped in the black stone, Xiaolong said. Lin Feng nodded. Then, he walked towards the counter. He came to the counter. Sure enough, he saw a black stone. Purgatory Demon Stone. A demon stone from hell, worth 80,000 immortal stones. Lin Feng couldn't help but be a little surprised. The price of this Purgatory Demon Stone was really high. It was just a fist-sized demon stone. It was actually worth 80,000 immortal stones. One had to know. Before breaking through to the Great Emperor realm, Lin Feng used a lot of immortal stones. After absorbing the energy in the immortal stones, Lin Feng only had a little more than 1,000,000 immortal stones left. Even for an Emperor realm expert, it was extremely difficult to accumulate more than 100,000 immortal stones. Young master, how may I help you? A sweet-looking saleswoman walked over. I want this Purgatory Demon Stone, Lin Feng said. Okay, please wait a moment, young master. I'll take it out for you, the saleswoman said. She took out the Purgatory Demon Stone. Then, she placed it in a crystal container for Lin Feng to examine carefully. If there were no problems, both sides could make a deal. Xiaolong was flying around in time and space, and he couldn't wait to break the Purgatory Demon Stone. Then, he took out the dragon core in the Purgatory Demon Stone and refined it. Lin Feng only took a few glances, because his goal wasn't the Purgatory Demon Stone, but the dragon core inside. Lin Feng was about to take out the immortal stones to make the deal. At this moment, a voice sounded. Chapter 3676. Lin Feng turned his head to look. He noticed. It was a beautiful woman who spoke. She was wearing a fiery red dress. She was voluptuous and sexy. She had flaming red lips. She was a stunner. How charming. Why does she look familiar? Lin Feng muttered in his heart. Soon, Lin Feng remembered who the woman was. Wasn't she Lien Yunshang? The #1 genius of the Crimson Demonic Snake Clan. Usually, there were very few women who could become the #1 genius of the Myriad Clan's royal clan. Lien Yunshang was an exception. This woman, not only was she breathtakingly beautiful, but she was also terrifying. She wasn't someone ordinary people could provoke. In addition to Lien Yunshang, there were more than a dozen young masters following her. Although Lien Yunshang had just returned to the Crimson Demonic Snake Clan, it had already caused a sensation. Before Lien Yunshang returned, the news that she was about to come out of seclusion in the Myriad Clan's Divine Palace and return to her clan had already spread. Therefore, many Sky Prides came to Witherness City to meet Lien Yunshang. Some wanted to ask Lien Yunshang about the Myriad Clan's Divine Palace. After all, only the first batch of people from the Myriad Clan's Divine Palace, a mere 100 people, had entered, and it had happened 3,000 years ago. Everyone was curious about the situation in the Myriad Clan's Divine Palace. In addition, a goddess like Lien Yunshang had countless suitors. She was like a beautiful flower. Even if she stood there motionless, she could attract many butterflies and bees. Once the news of Lien Yunshang coming out of seclusion spread, many cultivators came one after another. Most of them had improper thoughts about Lien Yunshang. This woman was indeed beautiful. Of course, there were many beautiful women, but there were too few women like Lien Yunshang, who was beautiful, came from a good family, and had a powerful cultivation. Scarce resources. Naturally, they would be hunted. Women were no exception. Those who could follow Lien Yunshang at this moment, their identities were definitely extraordinary. Maybe they were young masters from the Sacred War Alliance's royal family. Lin Feng guessed. Those young masters from the royal family might not be qualified to follow Lien Yunshang. You want it? Lin Feng glanced at Lien Yunshang indifferently. Lien Yunshang frowned slightly. She believed that Lin Feng must know her. Who saw her? His eyes were not shining. His imagination ran wild. However, Lin Feng's gaze was extremely indifferent. Pretentious. This guy must be putting on an act. Maybe he wants to use this method to attract my attention. Lien Yunshang could not help but think. There were too many people pursuing Lien Yunshang. What kind of method was this? Lien Yunshang had seen them before. Therefore, when she saw Lin Feng's performance in front of her, she was shocked. Lien Yunshang felt that Lin Feng was being pretentious. He looked down on Lin Feng. Yes, Lien Yunshang said coldly. She believed it. If he said yes, Lin Feng would definitely take this opportunity to get close to him. This kind of trick, Lien Yunshang had seen it before. No, Lin Feng said indifferently, and then took out 80,000 immortal stones. He sealed the immortal stones in a space porcelain bottle and placed it on the table. The salesperson naturally did not dare to take it, because Lien Yunshang also took a fancy to this item. If she took Lin Feng's immortal stones, the deal would be done. Wouldn't he offend Lien Yunshang? Offend Lien Yunshang in withered Silent City? Did he want to go to hell to massage Yama's back and legs? How dare you trick me? Lien Yunshang's gaze turned cold, although she looked hot and seductive on the outside. In fact, Lien Yunshang was able to win the first competition among the geniuses under 30,000 years old. She stood out and made it to the top 100. One could tell how powerful this woman was. It's not a trick. I'm just asking you. Can't I? Lin Feng said. The corner of Lien Yunshang's mouth twitched violently. After asking, she knew the answer. She gave herself hope. Then she rejected him. She dashed her hope. This was not a trick. What was it? Lien Yunshang suddenly felt that Lin Feng was despicable no matter how she looked at him. She really wanted to slap Lin Feng to death. Do you know the consequences of fooling me? Lien Yunshang looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng shrugged and said, I said I'm not fooling. But since you think I'm fooling you, then I'm fooling you. I forgot to tell you. Don't be too self-righteous. How rude of you to interfere with someone else's purchase. You don't sound like someone from a big family. You sound more like a street thug. Lien Yunshang was furious. Wasn't Lin Feng implying that she was a street thug? Who the hell is this bastard? How dare he mock her in withered Silent City? Was he tired of living? Brat, are you courting death? Brat, how dare you? Now, immediately. Apologize to Fairy Yunshang immediately. Otherwise, I'll make sure you walk out of here alive. When the group of young masters saw that Lin Feng dared to offend Lien Yunshang, they perked up, because their chance to perform had arrived. All of them released their domineering auras. They criticized and threatened Lin Feng in all sorts of ways. It was clear that if Lin Feng dared to disobey them, they would immediately take action to suppress Lin Feng. Lin Feng glanced at Lien Yunshang and said, These flower protectors are making a ruckus like a bunch of rascals. Fairy, don't you think it's beneath you to let them follow you around? When the group of young masters heard Lin Feng's words, they nearly coughed up blood. Lin Feng's mouth was simply too sarcastic. They were so angry that their bodies trembled. Lien Yunshang glared at Lin Feng, ignoring Lin Feng. Lin Feng sent the Purgatory Magic Stone into the space-time continuum. Xiaolong impatiently opened the Purgatory Magic Stone. Sure enough, a dragon core was sealed inside. Xiaolong opened his mouth and swallowed the dragon core. Lin Feng used the Great Restoration Art. The Purgatory Magic Stone that Xiaolong had opened was glued back together. Of course. After all, it was glued back together using a divine ability. Naturally, it wouldn't be as good as before. However, from the outside, the difference wasn't too big. Lin Feng took out the Purgatory Magic Stone again. He fiddled with it in his hand. He smiled and looked at the group of young masters, who were glaring at him. Then, he said, Everyone, do you like Fairy Yunshang? Come to think of it, she's a top-notch beauty. She comes from a good background, possesses great talent, and is strong. Her future is limitless. She's the perfect woman. Who wouldn't like a woman like her? Now, I'll give you a chance to show her who likes her more. How? Someone frowned. Chapter 3677. After hearing Lin Feng's words, how could Lin Yunsheng not know what Lin Feng wanted to do? This guy obviously wanted to use her to trick this group of childs. How could this guy be so shameless? Lin Yunsheng had the urge to stomp Lin Feng to death. However, Lin Yunsheng didn't say anything, because this group of childs had been following her all the time. It made Lin Yunsheng feel as if she had lost her freedom. She was very disgusted with these people. It was just that these childs were from the royal family of one clan. She couldn't just drive them away. After all, this was likely to make the forces behind both sides hostile. Now Lin Feng was using this method. Even though they were using her name to deceive a group of young masters, it was still a big deal. However, it could help her to get rid of these annoying guys. If these people didn't compete, would they still have the face to stay? If these people competed, would those who failed in the competition still have the face to stay? As for those who succeeded in the competition, she would accept his things and tell him that he was a good person, but they weren't suitable for each other. In this case, Lin Yunsheng wouldn't be embarrassed to say it. She had always been an extrovert. She would do things swiftly and decisively. She had rejected people countless times since she was young. It was a walk in the park. Thinking of this, Lin Yunsheng couldn't help but smile. Perhaps it was because she could use this opportunity to get rid of these people. So, Lin Yunsheng's gaze towards Lin Feng seemed to be gentler than before. Of course, it was just a little gentler. Now Lin Feng was still a very hateful bastard in Lin Yunsheng's heart. Damn, this bastard wants to kill us? This group of childs wasn't stupid. On the contrary, they were very smart. Everyone knew Lin Feng's big plan. It was because they knew Lin Feng's plan that these childs were unusually angry. Lin Feng was obviously tricking them. However, they had to bite the bullet. If they didn't, then he would lose the right to pursue Lin Yunsheng. Lin Feng said indifferently, the base price is 80,000, and each increment cannot be less than 10,000. Because if it is less than 10,000, it will damage your status as a young master of the Wan clan's royal family. After hearing Lin Feng's words, Li Yunhong nodded. Lin Yunsheng couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. However, he felt that it was inappropriate to laugh like this. He could only stifle his laughter. But holding it in like this was really uncomfortable. Lin Yunsheng glared at Lin Feng again. Well, all of this, it was all Lin Feng's fault. If it wasn't for this guy, how could he laugh? See how this fairy will deal with you later. 80,000 immortal stones was naturally not a small number. Venerable sovereigns usually only had a few 100,000 immortal stones in their savings. Of course, there might be millions or millions of immortal stones, but they must have obtained a heaven-defying fortune to be able to possess so many immortal stones. Such people were not common. Therefore, even if these young masters were direct descendants of the myriad race's royal family, they would still be able to take out a large amount of immortal stones. It wasn't an immortal stone either. More than half of them could not even take out 80,000 immortal stones. Not to mention participating in the competition. The faces of these young masters were gloomier and uglier than the last. They really wanted to smash Lin Feng to death with their spiked clubs. Said Lin Feng, celestial being, you have to look at these people clearly. Don't misjudge them. Before you started dating, they were unwilling to spend money on you. After you started dating, or even after you got married, don't expect these guys to spend money on you. It doesn't matter what a man looks like. What matters is whether he is willing to spend money on you. Lin Yunsheng rolled her eyes at Lin Feng. She felt that Lin Feng was really good at stabbing people's hearts with his words. This was because Lin Yunsheng saw that several young masters' faces had turned the color of pig liver. 90,000. I'll take it. One of the young masters said, TSK. Generous. Lin Feng gave him a thumbs up, 100,000. I'll take it. Another young master said, good man. Lin Feng gave him another thumbs up, 150,000. I'll take it. A third cultivator said. He increased the price by 50,000. He wanted to scare off the others. These young masters' faces were extremely ugly. More than 100,000 immortal stones. This was not a small number. These young masters had so many immortal stones on them. Some of them had obtained great fortuitous opportunities. That was why they had so many immortal stones. Some of them were about to break through. Their families had provided them with a lot of immortal stones to break through. In addition, they had accumulated immortal stones over the years. Therefore, they had a lot of immortal stones on them. However, in order to compete for the Inferno Hell Fiend stones, these young masters did not even think about breaking through. They would think about breaking through after they got the beauty. 200,000. Another young master made a new bid. The surroundings quieted down. A price of 200,000. That was extremely high. It exceeded the limits of many people. 300,000. Someone was in a frenzy and continued to make a bid. 300,000. True love. True love is invincible. Is there a higher bid? If not, it proves that you don't love Fairylian Yunshang as much as this young master. Lin Feng said. The group of young masters glared at Lin Feng. They really wanted to tear Lin Feng into pieces. Lian Yunshang could not help but gnash her teeth. Could they not talk when they were auctioning things? However, it was obvious that Lin Feng ignored everyone's gaze. Is there a young master who loves her even more than true love? Come out quickly and show Fairylian Yunshang where you are. Lin Feng continued. 400,000. One of the young masters gritted his teeth and offered a new price. What a heartache. It seemed that he was going to go bankrupt. Damn. This young master is really rich and overbearing. It's as if he's going to love her even if she's dead. Is there anyone else who wants to make a higher bid? Lin Feng said with a smile. The young master who made a bid of 400,000 was suppressing the anger in his heart. That was a sky-high price. His heart was aching. He was even ridiculed by Lin Feng. It was really depressing. This time, it seemed that no one was bidding. No matter how Lin Feng encouraged them to continue bidding, no one made a new bid. It seems that no one loves Fairylian Yunshang as much as this young master. Lin Feng sighed. The group of young masters remained silent with gloomy expressions. 400,000 going once. 400,000 going twice. 400,000 going thrice. Just as Lin Feng was about to shout sold, that young master was about to let out a sigh of relief. A voice came from the stairs. 1 million. I'll take it. This voice attracted everyone's attention. Everyone turned to look. They saw 5 or 6 young masters coming to the 3rd floor. The person who made the bid. Chapter 3678. This young master was from the Sky Fiend race. This person was very handsome, but his slightly long and narrow eyes gave him a gloomy and terrifying feeling. The Sky Fiend race was one of the top 10 races among the royal families. Of course, there were many branches of the Sky Fiend race. There were extraterrestrial demons and heavenly sage great world demons. But in the end, their ancestors might have been from the same family, but they were not as close as before. Tycoon bro, true love is eternal. Lin Feng grinned. 1 million immortal stones. How could this guy be so rich? Lin Feng knew some of the top elites of the myriad races. For example, Sky Fiend race's Gongxinye, Sacred God race's Divine Firmament King, Ancient God race's Divine Path Xie, and others. This young master from the Sky Fiend race was so rich. He was definitely not an ordinary person. Lin Feng could not help but feel apprehensive. This person, could he also be a young elite who entered the myriad race's temple to cultivate? It was possible. Gongzi Huang. After seeing this young master from the Sky Fiend race, many of the geniuses from the myriad race's royal families turned solemn. They looked at the young master from the Sky Fiend race with wary eyes. Gongzi Huang, the #1 genius of the heavenly sage great world Sky Fiend race. This person was Gongzi Nie's cousin. In the past, Gongzi Huang was also sealed. Time stopped flowing. He broke the seal more than 3,000 years ago. Not long after, the myriad races temple's arena battle began. The geniuses of the myriad races competed. Gongzi Huang was practically invincible as he slaughtered his way into the hundreds and thousands. He was definitely an unimaginably terrifying existence. And now, he had cultivated in the myriad races temple for 3,000 years. How powerful was Gongzi Huang now? No one knew. These young masters from the royal families were in a terrible mood. Because of the competition of wealth, they could not compete with Gongzi Huang, and the competition of family background, talent, cultivation, etc., seemed to be at a disadvantage. What qualifications did they have to compete with Gongzi Huang for a woman? Tycoon Bro's love for Fairy Lian Yunshang can be seen by the sun and moon. Is there anyone who loves Fairy Lian Yunshang more than Tycoon Bro? If there is, quickly step out and let Fairy Lian Yunshang see. Lin Feng said. Many people looked at Lin Feng from the corner of their eyes. They really wanted to beat him up. 1,000,000 immortal stones. Was this a price that ordinary people could afford? And he wanted to trick them into bidding? Said Lin Feng. If you don't have enough celestial stones, you can take out your ancestral treasures, such as great imperial weapons, celestial medicines, and other precious treasures. Of course, you can also use them as collateral. When you have enough celestial stones, you can exchange them for them. That was Lin Feng's last sentence. Everyone pretended they did not hear it. Everyone could tell. The guy in front of him was truly shameless. If the treasure really ended up in his hands, was there any possibility of switching it back? Wasn't that just daydreaming? Fairy Yunshang. Wei Lian Yunshang Gongzi Huang walked over with a faint smile. Lian Yunshang also saluted Gongzi Huang. How many immortal stones can this treasure be exchanged for? At this moment, a young master gritted his teeth and took out a treasure. This young master had bid 300,000 immortal stones before. Now, he took out a supreme treasure. It seemed like he really loved Lian Yunshang. Otherwise, he would not take out his own Dharma treasure to sell. Lin Feng found that the treasure the young master took out was a green lamp. The surface of the lamp was densely covered with runes. It was simple and elegant. It was obviously a powerful treasure. Moreover, Lin Feng felt the power of Buddhism from the lamp. Lin Feng liked this treasure very much. He held it in his hand and played with it. He could not put it down. What's the price? The young master asked. A shabby copper lamp. Lin Feng began to bid. After hearing the first half of Lin Feng's words, many people's mouths twitched. This green lamp was obviously a treasure. In Lin Feng's hands, it had turned into a tattered copper lamp? Fraud. How could he be so fraudulent? Many people looked at Lin Feng speechlessly. The cultivator who took out the bronze lamp turned green. He was cursing Lin Feng in his heart. This guy is really shameless. Even Lian Yunshang could not stand it anymore. She began to slander Lin Feng in her heart. Everyone thought that Lin Feng would quote a very low price. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would quote a high price? Lin Feng quoted a price of 1,000,000 immortal stones for the copper lamp that Lin Feng called a shabby copper lamp. Many people were stunned. Didn't he say that it was a shabby copper lamp? Why was he quoting such a high price? Soon, everyone figured it out. Lin Feng was killing two birds with one stone. First of all, this copper lamp was indeed a supreme treasure. It was also a Buddhist supreme treasure. Buddhist supreme treasures were different from other treasures. They could restrain evil spirits and ghosts. Therefore, they often had miraculous effects. Therefore, it was difficult to determine the specific price of Buddhist supreme treasures. Lin Feng quoted a price. Naturally, it was acceptable. Secondly, if Lin Feng quoted a low price, if the total price did not exceed 1,000,000. In the end, Gongzi Huang quoted a price of 1,000,000 immortal stones. If he quoted a high price and succeeded in exceeding 1,000,000, would Gongzi Huang still follow? No. Lin Feng got the copper lamp and the 300,000 immortal stones from the cultivator from before. If he followed, Gongzi Huang had to quote a higher price. This time, Lin Feng was obviously here to cheat Gongzi Huang. Brother True Love has offered a total price of 1,300,000 immortal stones. Are you still following? Lin Feng looked at Gongzi Huang with a faint smile. The corner of Gongzi Huang's mouth twitched slightly. 1,000,000 to him. It was not a small amount. It was half of all his immortal stones. But now it seemed, even if he bid 1,000,000, he could not get the Purgatory Fiend stone. Gongzi Huang was a person who would never admit defeat. He said coldly, 1,500,000. The brother True Love in Lin Feng's mouth sighed. He was powerless to continue and could only choose to withdraw. Is there anyone with a higher price than Brother Tycoon? Lin Feng looked around. No one spoke. You keep saying how much you like Fairy Lien Yunshang. It seems that you are just talking. Lin Feng pursed his lips. The group of young masters clenched their fists together, making creaking sounds. One by one, they glared at Lin Feng. Lin Feng acted as if he did not see their expressions. 1,500,000 going once. 1,500,000 going twice. 1,500,000 going thrice. Deal. This purgatory fiend stone. It belongs to this brother tycoon. One hand for the immortal stone. One hand for the goods. Lin Feng smiled and looked at Gongzi Huang. Gongzi Huang looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy expression. Then, he waved his hand. Chapter 3679. It was quite shocking to see 1.5 million immortal stones being taken out. That was a huge sum of money. Now, this river of immortal stones was made up of 1.5 million immortal stones. Many people's eyes were wide open. Lin Feng was very satisfied with this transaction. He got the most precious dragon core in the Inferno Hell Magic Stone. He sold the Inferno Hell Magic Stone that he bought with 80,000 immortal stones for a sky-high price of 1.5 million immortal stones. This business was absolutely amazing. Such a business could not be done at any time. Lin Feng received 1.5 million immortal stones. Then, he handed the Inferno Hell Magic Stone to Gongzi Huang. After receiving the Inferno Hell Magic Stone, Gongzi Huang smiled at Lien Yunshang. He said, Fairy Yunshang, this Inferno Hell Magic Stone is a gift from me. I hope you like it. Thank you, Gongzi. Lien Yunshang bowed to Gongzi Huang. She did not feel embarrassed at all. She directly took the Inferno Hell Magic Stone from Gongzi Huang. What are you all still doing here? It's time to leave. Gongzi Huang glanced indifferently at the other young masters who were pursuing Lien Yunshang. This group of young masters was now disgraced. They did not have the face to continue staying here. Many people walked out with a sullen face. Brother, please wait. Lin Feng looked at the owner of the green lamp. This person was a cultivator of the Sacred Soul race. The Sacred War Alliance launched a war to invade the 9 states back then. But in fact, not all the forces in the Sacred War Alliance participated in this war. For example, the Sacred Soul race was one of them. What's the matter? The cultivator of the Sacred Soul race looked at Lin Feng angrily. His tone was also cold. I want that green lamp. How about we make a deal? Lin Feng looked at the cultivator of the Sacred Soul race and said, since this person dared to take out the green lamp to make a deal, Lin Feng knew that green lamp should not be this person's ancestral treasure. If it was passed down from his ancestors, lend him 3 times the courage. He wouldn't sell his ancestors' magic treasure just because he wanted to please a woman. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that the green lamp was a treasure that the Sacred Soul race cultivator had obtained through a fortuitous encounter. Furthermore, since this person had taken out the green lamp to trade, it must be a supreme treasure. To him, it was not so important that he could not give it up. Therefore, Lin Feng wanted to make a deal with him. It's impossible for you to make a deal with me, not in this lifetime. The Sacred Soul tribe cultivator said coldly. Then, he walked outside. Young man, don't be so full of yourself. Otherwise, you'll be slapped in the face. Lin Feng said with the tone of an experienced person lecturing a junior. The cultivators of the Sacred Spirit race were furious. This guy was too shameless. However, he really didn't want to stay in this place any longer. Especially, he thought that he had lost all hope of pursuing Lien Yunshang in the future. His mood was terrible. He couldn't be bothered to pay attention to Lin Feng. He glared fiercely at Lin Feng before quickly leaving. Why aren't you leaving? Gongzi Huang looked at Lin Feng with an indifferent expression. Lin Feng said indifferently, I still have something to discuss with little Shangshang. Little Shangshang? Everyone was stunned. Gongzi Huang was also stunned. Wasn't little Shangshang referring to Lien Yunshang? Gongzi Huang's expression was as ugly as it could get. Did this guy eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? How dare he call Lien Yunshang that? Gongzi Huang knew that Lien Yunshang was definitely not to be trifled with. Lien Yunshang was also very surprised. She didn't expect Lin Feng to call her that. Was she familiar with this guy? It seemed that the two of them didn't know each other. Lin Yunxiang had always thought that Lin Feng was a shameless person. Now, she suddenly felt that calling Lin Feng a shameless person, that was not enough to describe Lin Feng's shamelessness. Little Shang, this is not the place to talk. Let's find a place where no one is around. Lin Feng looked at Lin Yunxiang with a smile. Lin Yunxiang's eyes darted around before she looked at Gongzi Huang and said, Brother Huang, I have some other matters to attend to today. I can't accompany you any longer. I hope Brother Huang will be magnanimous enough to forgive me. Gongzi Huang thought that Lin Yunxiang would fly into a rage. However, Lin Yunxiang did not. Gongzi Huang was extremely depressed. However, he still had to put on a gentlemanly look. He said, Fairy, please don't say that. You should attend to your important matters first. Let's meet again another day. I'll take my leave then. Lin Yunxiang bowed slightly to Gongzi Huang. Then, she walked out with Lin Feng. Brother Huang, could Lin Yunxiang and that guy be putting on an act to extort money? A cultivator next to Gongzi Huang said, I think that's possible. A second person said. The rest of the cultivators also expressed their opinions. They all felt that it was possible. However, Gongzi Huang shook his head and said, Lin Yunxiang wouldn't offend a group of imperial family disciples for a sum of immortal stones. That guy must be using Lin Yunxiang's name to make a fortune. Lin Yunxiang, on the other hand, doesn't like being followed by so many people, so she's going with the flow. Since Brother Huang has seen through this, why are you still bidding? Someone asked in confusion. Gongzi Huang said, because I don't like to see so many flies flying around Lin Yunxiang. Then, Gongzi Huang's lips curled into a cold smile as he said, no one has ever taken immortal stones from me. That guy won't be able to do it either. At this point, Gongzi Huang's eyes were filled with killing intent. Lin Feng and Lin Yunxiang walked out of the shop. He used my name to extort so many immortal stones. We'll split it half. Lin Yunxiang said. Lin Feng said nonchalantly, didn't I help you drive away those annoying fellows? I also helped you get rid of Gongzi Huang. You also got the Inferno Hell Fiend Stone. You should be content. You can't be too greedy. You're the greedy one. You got one. 5 million immortal stones. I've never seen so many immortal stones in my life. Lin Yunxiang glared at Lin Feng as she spoke. Lin Feng said, Gongzi Huang came down to look for you. Lin Yunxiang turned to look at the shop. Gongzi Huang was nowhere to be seen. Lin Yunxiang immediately knew that she had been tricked by Lin Feng. She turned to look at Lin Feng angrily. Lin Feng had disappeared without a trace. Bastard, how dare you trick me? I think you're tired of living. As long as you stay in Forsaken City, I have many ways to find you. Lin Yunxiang said fiercely. One had to admit that Lin Yunxiang was a supreme beauty. She became angry. They were both so beautiful. Chapter 3680. Lin Yunxiang did not stay for long. Instead, she quickly left the black market. Lin Feng went to the biggest shop in the black market. This shop, it was called the Divine Wind Restaurant. It was said that the owner was very mysterious, was very capable. No one dared to provoke him. Therefore, the business of the Divine Wind Restaurant was doing well. The Divine Wind Restaurant had a total of 7 floors. It was very big. There were many customers here. People came and went. There was an endless stream. It was said that the Divine Wind Restaurant would hold a huge auction every once in a while. At the auction, usually there would be some good items. Lin Feng entered the Divine Wind Restaurant. A servant girl on the first floor saw that Lin Feng had an extraordinary aura and knew that Lin Feng was not an ordinary person. She walked up to him. This maidservant was quite tall, and she was also quite beautiful. She was very pleasing to the eye. Is there anything I can do for you, young master? The servant girl bowed to Lin Feng and asked, I need to buy a large amount of precious insect materials. Can you help me contact the elders who can make the decisions here? Lin Feng said. The maidservant said, Young master, please follow me to the VIP room to rest for a while. I will inform the elders soon. Lin Feng nodded. He followed the servant girl to the VIP room on the first floor. The servant girl poured a cup of tea for Lin Feng. Then, she left. Not long after, a series of footsteps came from outside. Then, A beautiful woman walked into the main hall. This beautiful woman should be the person in charge. Lin Feng was very surprised, because he had been to many places like the Divine Wind restaurant. The person in charge. Usually, they were men. This was the first time the woman saw them. Of course, Lin Feng did not show his surprise on his face. I am Yao Yu. Greetings, young master. May I know how to address you? The woman smiled and bowed to Lin Feng. She looked at Lin Feng and asked about his identity. The surname is Lin, Lin Feng said. He only said his surname, not his first name. Many cultivators were actually like this. In order to avoid trouble, they would only reveal their surnames and not their names. There were even a lot of people. He directly changed the name. He used a fake name to hide his true identity. This kind of thing was commonplace in the world of cultivators. So it's Lin Gongzi. I heard from my subordinates that Lin Gongzi needs some insect materials. I wonder what kind of materials Lin Gongzi needs. The beautiful woman asked with a smile. Nurture the primordial ancestral insect. Emperor archaic. Prehistoric demon refining insect queen. The materials of the celestial devouring bug queen. I want as many as you have, Lin Feng said. The beautiful woman was shocked because the spirit insects that Lin Feng mentioned were too shocking. And now, Lin Feng collected these insect materials. Could it be that Lin Feng was cultivating these spirit insects? The beautiful woman asked calmly. These insect materials are not easy to find. Moreover, they are very expensive. No problem. Just bring them over, Lin Feng said. Young master, please wait for a while. This servant will go to the warehouse to check how many insect materials are left. When I'm done, I'll bring them all to young master. The beautiful woman said. Many thanks. Lin Feng cupped his fists. The beautiful woman chuckled and said, We should be thanking young master for patronizing our divine wind sect's business. When the beautiful woman laughed, she looked as if she was trembling. She was really beautiful. Lin Feng could not help but take a few more glances at her. The beautiful woman was very pleased with herself. She had always been attracted to him. She was very confident. The beautiful woman left to sort out the various insect materials. An hour later, the beautiful woman returned. She brought over 200 types of insect materials. Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. This divine wind sect's ability was really big. They actually had so many insect materials in stock. There are a total of 84 types of insect materials to cultivate the immemorial ancestral insect, 56 types of insect materials to cultivate the emperor archaic, 67 types of insect materials to cultivate the desolate era demon refining insect queen, 60 types of insect materials to cultivate the immortal devouring insect queen. As the beautiful woman spoke, she took out a jade tube and handed it to Lin Feng. She said, The quantity and price of each insect material are all recorded inside. Young master can take a look. Lin Feng took the jade tube. His divine sense sensed it. Sure enough, he found it. It recorded the introduction, quantity, price, and other contents of various insect materials. It was very complete. The Divine Wind sect was very meticulous in doing things. This point, Lin Feng admired it very much. No problem. Lin Feng's divine sense withdrew from the jade tube and said, The price of these things added together is 830,000 immortal stones. But today, our Divine Wind sect will form a good relationship with young master and only take 800,000 immortal stones from young master. The beautiful woman said with a smile. 800,000 immortal stones was actually an astronomical figure. World of cultivators. Many people did not raise pets, spirit beasts, and so on. These pets, spirit beasts, and other living creatures could play an important role at critical moments. They could even reverse the situation of a battle. But why were there still so few people who raised these pets and spirit beasts as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns? It was not that those cultivators did not want to raise them. It was that they really could not afford to raise them. Only a rich cultivator like Lin Feng could do that, could afford to raise them. Thank you, fairy, Lin Feng said with a smile. Then, he took out 800,000 immortal stones. He sealed the 800,000 immortal stones in a spatial porcelain bottle and handed it to the beautiful woman. The beautiful woman did not check if the number of immortal stones inside was enough. She kept the porcelain bottle. She did this as if she was telling Lin Feng. She trusted Lin Feng 100%. She had a 100% trusting attitude towards her customers. It was easy for people to have a good impression of her. Lin Feng continued, I still need some things, but I don't know if the Divine Wind sect has them here. What things? The beautiful woman asked curiously. Dragon cores, dragon crystals, and the like. It's a treasure that can help the dragon race grow quickly, Lin Feng said. In fact, the dragon core and the dragon crystal were the same thing. It was just that they had different names at different stages. There was a huge difference in the purity of the energy contained within. These things are not easy to find. However, I heard that a fellow Taoist has a bottle of dragon marrow. It is said that it is the marrow of a true dragon. Priceless. True dragon marrow? Good fellow. Lin Feng heard the words true dragon bone marrow. He was shocked. This item was even more valuable than a dragon core or a dragon crystal. It would definitely play a huge role in promoting Xiaolong's growth. Eat, eat, eat. When Xiaolong heard the words true dragon bone marrow, he was shocked. He shouted excitedly. Is that fellow Taoist in Withered City? Lin Feng asked. Chapter 3681. Said Lin Feng, Thank you very much, Celestial. The beautiful woman chuckled. You're too polite, young master. Lin Feng chatted with the beautiful woman for a while before leaving. He had gained a lot from this trip to the black market. As for this trip, Lin Feng was very satisfied. Lin Feng walked outside. A group of people rushed towards Lin Feng. Among the crowd, Lin Feng saw the three-eyed bull demon that he had defeated. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Was this guy here for revenge? The three-eyed bull demon had never invaded the 9 prefectures before. So, Lin Feng didn't like this race. He didn't hate them. But if this guy didn't have eyes and came to find trouble with him, Lin Feng wouldn't be merciful. Big brother, it's him. The three-eyed bull demon pointed at Lin Feng. This guy had brought over an expert who was somewhat similar to him, but his aura was much stronger. Eat this old bull's fist. The reinforcements brought over by the three-eyed bull demon couldn't help but roar. Then, he threw a punch at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression darkened. He casually sent out a palm strike. Bang! This reinforcements was sent flying by Lin Feng's palm strike. Crack, crack. Even the sound of bones cracking could be heard. The bones in his body, it was unknown how many were broken by Lin Feng. Ah, so strong, so strong. The three-eyed bull demon that was sent flying by Lin Feng once again rushed towards Lin Feng. The three-eyed bull demon from before also rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng thought that the two of them wanted to gang up on him. Just as Lin Feng was about to make his move, who would have thought? The two of them directly flopped on the ground. Flop. They knelt in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng was dumbfounded. The surrounding cultivators were also dumbfounded. Weren't these guys here for revenge? The fight had only just begun. Kneeling on the ground. What was the meaning of this? Even if he couldn't win, he could still leave. There was no need to kneel on the ground, right? Lin Feng didn't know what to do with those two guys. What are you doing? Lin Feng asked speechlessly. Young master, you're too strong. We brothers are willing to follow young master. We hope that young master can bestow upon us the method to become stronger. The three-eyed ox demonic cultivator who was sent flying by Lin Feng hurriedly said, Young master, please accept us. We are willing to become young master's followers. We can help young master with a lot of things. Another three-eyed bull demon said. Lin Feng immediately rolled his eyes. These two guys actually did such a thing and caught Lin Feng off guard. Get up, this is not the place to talk, Lin Feng said. Naturally, he had no interest in accepting these two followers. If young master doesn't accept us brothers, we brothers will kneel for a long time. The two three-eyed ox demonic cultivators said in unison. Once a bull's temper flared up, it was completely one-track minded. If you want to kneel, then kneel. I'll take my leave first. Lin Feng directly walked outside. The two three-eyed ox demonic cultivators hurriedly got up. There were still some other cultivators following them. They were all followers they had taken in. Now, The two three-eyed ox demonic cultivators had driven away their followers. They then chased after Lin Feng. Lin Feng returned to his residence. The two three-eyed ox demonic cultivators followed Lin Feng back to his residence in the Bee Garden district. They didn't knock on his door. Instead, they sat on the branches of a tree not far away and rested. When the innkeeper found out about this, he came to Lin Feng's residence. He asked Lin Feng if he needed to drive the two away. The innkeeper had a great background. It was said that it was related to the city lord's mansion. Perhaps the city lord's mansion was the force behind it. Lin Feng asked, "What's the background of these two?" The older one is called Niu Ming, and the younger one is called Niu Yin. Speaking of which, these two brothers are quite pitiful. Their parents were killed when they were still very young. Originally, their father was the eldest son of the three-eyed ox demon clan's patriarch. Moreover, the old patriarch's soul was about to return to the nine heavens due to an old illness. The brother's father was about to inherit the patriarch's position, but he suddenly died tragically, and the position of patriarch fell to the second brother. The situation of the two brothers, Niu Ming and Niu Yin, is getting worse and worse. Although their bloodline is powerful, they have no one to rely on in the clan after their parents died. Therefore, they missed the best period of cultivation when they were young. Therefore, their powerful talents have not been fully displayed. All these years, they have been thinking of avenging their parents, so they want to become stronger. The innkeeper said. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. He didn't expect these two stubborn brothers to have such a tragic background. Lin Feng's sharp senses told him that. Was the death of the Niu Ming and Niu Yan's father related to this second uncle of theirs? Of course. This was only Lin Feng's guess. Lin Feng didn't have any evidence. Let them stay there. They will leave soon if I don't go out. Lin Feng said. Young master's kindness is admirable. The innkeeper cupped his fists. Then he left. Lin Feng didn't pay any attention to the Niu Ming and Niu Yan brothers. Perhaps everyone in this world had their own story behind them. And Lin Feng, he didn't want to be too involved in other people's affairs. Afternoon, a maid came to Lin Feng's place. This maid was from the Divine Wind Pavilion. She received Yao Yu's order and came to deliver a letter to Lin Feng. Lin Feng opened the letter. A light flashed. On the letter, a graceful figure appeared. It was Yao Yu. Yao Yu said, "Young master, I have already visited that fellow Taoist. Tomorrow, that fellow Taoist will go to the Divine Wind Pavilion and take out the true dragon bone marrow. However, that fellow Taoist seems to have informed many people to go, so young master must be mentally prepared." Her voice faded. That illusory figure of Yao Yu disappeared. On the blank letter, there was a dense row of small words. Those small words, including the specific time, guesses of what the other party might need, and so on. Yao Yu was quite meticulous. She was very thoughtful. "I have received the letter. Go and reply to manager Yao Yu. Say that I will be there on time tomorrow." Lin Feng looked at the maid who delivered the letter and said, "Yes, this servant will go back and report to master." The maid said. Then she left. The next day, Lin Feng went to the Divine Wind Pavilion. Seeing Lin Feng come out, the Niu Ming and Niu Yin brothers hurriedly jumped down from the tree. Then they followed behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't want the Niu brothers to follow him, because there were too many people from the Sacred War Alliance who wanted to kill him. Once Lin Feng's identity was exposed, there would definitely be experts to deal with him. This was also the reason why Lin Feng didn't want the Niu brothers to follow him. Because once the war broke out, the Niu brothers... Chapter 3682. I'll pass on 3 divine abilities to you 2 brothers. These 3 divine abilities, one is called Green Ox Heaven Trampling Steps, one is called Divine Ox Dragon Kill, and one is called Divine Ox Demon Art. Come find me after you've successfully cultivated these 3 divine abilities. Lin Feng flicked his finger, and 2 light beams flew out. Each beam of light recorded 3 divine abilities. These 3 divine abilities were obtained from the immortal corpse's soul. They were very powerful. The 2 light beams that recorded the divine abilities entered the minds of the Niu brothers. "Thank you, young master. The 2 of us brothers will definitely cultivate well. We won't disappoint young master's expectations." The Niu Ming and Niu Yin said excitedly. They thanked him repeatedly. Then they left. After seeing the two brothers leave, Lin Feng continued to walk towards the Divine Wind Tower. Arriving at the Divine Wind Tower, the beautiful woman Yao Yu received Lin Feng. Is he here? Lin Feng asked. He's already here. He's currently drinking tea and chatting with the deputy head. There's still an hour before the trade fair begins. Young master should also go to the VIP lounge to rest. Yao Yu said. All right. Lin Feng nodded. Yao Yu brought Lin Feng to a separate VIP lounge on the 5th floor. A maidservant brought in tea. As the manager of the Divine Wind Tower, Yao Yu had a lot of things to do. So after chatting with Lin Feng for a while, she went out to deal with the affairs of the Divine Wind Tower. An hour later, a maid came to the VIP lounge where Lin Feng was. The maid said, Lin Gongzi, the trade fair is about to begin. Let's go now. Lin Feng nodded. He got up and followed behind the maid. The trade fair was also on the 5th floor. It was only a dozen meters away from the VIP lounge where Lin Feng was resting. When they entered the trade fair, there were already 7 or 8 cultivators gathered here. There were elderly cultivators, middle-aged cultivators, and also relatively young cultivators. After seeing Lin Feng come in, these people all looked indifferent. They didn't pay too much attention to a young cultivator like Lin Feng. Soon after, a group of people arrived. The 2 people in the lead. They were 2 young masters, and Lin Feng actually recognized one of them. It was none other than Gongzi Huang. The young master beside Gongzi Huang was extremely handsome. It was just that his eyebrows were raised, making him look rather frivolous. Gongzi Huang. That person also came out of the Holy Palace. In the past, Gongzi Huang was the most powerful existence among the younger generation. Now that he has cultivated in the sacred palace for such a long time, it is simply unimaginable just how powerful his combat strength has become. That's right. Perhaps he can catch up to the older generation of experts. I heard that Gongzi Huang came for Lin Yunshang. I've heard about this as well. The one with Gongzi Huang is Lin Yunshang's younger brother, right? This fellow is a spoiled brat with exceptional talent. However, he does not want to improve himself and has always been a fool when it comes to cultivation. After obtaining so many precious resources over the years, he has only just broken through to the quasi-emperor realm. What a waste of resources. The cultivators in the VIP lounge began to whisper to each other. Lin Feng could hear the ants fighting. Naturally, he could hear the mutterings of some cultivators. He rather admired Lin Yunshang's younger brother. This fellow had probably heard the others' evaluation of him. However, he did not seem to care at all. Perhaps a dead pig does not fear boiling water. This was how this fellow was acting now. Anyway, it was already like this. You can say whatever you want. When Gongzi Huang saw Lin Feng sitting down, he could not help but raise his eyebrows slightly. Brother Huang, do you know this fellow? Lien Limo asked in surprise. Yes. This is the fellow I told you about before. He is the one who used your sister's reputation to auction the Purgatory Demon Stone, Gongzi Huang said. Moreover, he did not lower his voice when speaking. Obviously, he did not mind being overheard by Lin Feng. This fellow was fanning the flames of trouble. He did it so blatantly. When the others heard this, they were all surprised. They all looked at Lin Feng. They wondered who this fellow was. He actually dared to use Lin Yunshang's reputation to make a fortune. Lin Yunshang was beautiful. However, she was not a good-tempered person. Was this fellow not playing with fire? However, this fellow was actually sitting there calmly. It seemed that Lin Yunshang did not take revenge on him. Could it be that he had some kind of ambiguous relationship with Lin Yunshang? Or else, why did Lin Yunshang not teach this fellow a lesson? Many people began to make guesses. Lien Limo walked toward Lin Feng. Many people muttered. It seemed that Lien Limo was going to deal with this fellow. Soon, Lien Limo came to Lin Feng's side. He looked at Lin Feng condescendingly and asked, "Is it true that you used my sister's name to make a fortune?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "You can think of it that way." Many people were shocked. They did not expect Lin Feng to answer so straightforwardly. Do you know? Did you commit a heinous crime? Lien Limo snorted coldly. What heinous crime? Tell me about it. Lin Feng said calmly, "My sister has a fiery temper. She was furious that you used her name to make a fortune. She wanted to smash you into a pulp with her mace, but I tried my best to stop her. In order to save you, I was almost slapped to death by my sister. Lian Limo said. Lin Feng, Gongzi Huang, everyone. Lian Limo muttered to himself. For you. I offended my own sister. Now, I don't dare to return home. So, you should know what to do now, right? Everyone was speechless. It was rumored that Lian Limo was not only a second-generation heir, but also a dabbler. They did not believe it at first. Now, they believed it. This fellow was really a weirdo. He actually dared to make up stories about his own sister. Moreover, his intentions were clear. He had said so much. He wanted to take advantage of Lin Feng. Thank you, thank you. Lin Feng cupped his fists. After that, Lin Feng ignored Lian Limo, the idiot. Lian Limo said, Thank you? That's it? Think about the sacrifices I made for you. Lian Limo said. He even stretched out his right hand and made a rubbing motion. Lin Feng said, What are you doing? Your hand is rubbing here and there. What exactly are you rubbing? Many people could not help but laugh. Lin Feng was obviously teasing Lian Limo. Lian Limo rolled his eyes, thinking, Why is this fellow so stupid? He can't even understand what I'm trying to say. Lian Limo then remembered that Gongzi Huang had spent 1.5 million to buy a Purgatory Fiend Stone from Lin Feng. Lian Limo could not help but despise Gongzi Huang's intelligence. Each one was stupider than the other. I'm still the smart one. Chapter 3683. Lian Limo originally wanted to ask for a portion of the immortal stones from Lin Feng, but at this moment, Yao Yu and another cultivator arrived. Everyone naturally knew Yao Yu. As for the other cultivator, very few people knew him. Someone seemed to recognize the cultivator's identity and was extremely shocked, but he didn't say much. That cultivator didn't look particularly old, around 30 years old, but cultivators all looked relatively young. That cultivator must have cultivated for who knows how many tens of thousands of years. After seeing Yao Yu arrive, Lian Limo shrunk his neck. He seemed to be quite afraid of Yao Yu. He didn't continue to pester Lin Feng, but quickly found a place to sit down. Everyone. This fellow Taoist Zhuge is the fellow Taoist who possesses the true dragon bone marrow. Yao Yu said. Everyone cupped their fists towards the cultivator surnamed Zhuge. I am Zhuge Ming. Greetings, fellow Taoists. The cultivator introduced himself. Of course, it was unknown whether it was his real name or not. When cultivators went out, there were very few who used their real names. Other than those who were confident in their own strength, or those who came from large factions, who used their real names. The rest of the people liked to use aliases, because they were worried about being retaliated against. Therefore, it was more convenient to use an alias. Although this Zhuge Ming looked very amiable, he was not a person to be trifled with. But this person gave Lin Feng an unusually dangerous feeling. This existence. He was definitely a powerful character. He wasn't someone ordinary people could provoke. Yao Yu said, Everyone is here for the true dragon bone marrow. As for how to obtain the true dragon bone marrow, it will depend on what fellow Taoist Zhuge's specific request is. I still have something to take care of, so I won't disturb everyone. Yao Yu bowed to everyone. Then she walked outside. Take care, everyone said, watching Yao Yu leave. Seeing Yao Yu leave, Lian Limo's expression returned to normal. Lin Feng had been observing Lian Limo the entire time. He realized that this guy seemed to be very afraid of Yao Yu. Lian Limo was the son of the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan's patriarch. Was there a need to be afraid of Yao Yu? Unless Yao Yu and the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan had a deep relationship, and her identity was different. That was why Lian Limo, the second generation, was so afraid. Ladies and gentlemen, I need an item. Who could take it out? The true dragon's bone marrow belongs to him. Zhuge Ming said. What is it? Everyone was curious. Immortal's inner core. Zhuge Ming said. Immortal's inner core? What the hell is that? Lian Limo couldn't help but mutter to himself. Zhuge Ming said, Cultivators usually don't condense inner cores. They usually convert the energy in their bodies into qi. For example, magic power belonged to a type of qi, and qi was also the most primitive force that propelled a cultivator's life. Even the flow of blood needed to be carried by qi. However, there are some immortals who can condense an inner core within their bodies. This inner core is called the Great Golden Core and is formed by the condensation of the immortal's energy source and their own qi. Many people frowned. What Zhuge Ming wanted was simply too rare. Lin Feng had prepared many treasures. However, these treasures were of no use. Immortal Niden. These things were condensed from the bodies of immortals, and only a very small portion of immortals could condense them. Where should I go to find them? It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Lin Feng wasn't the only one who couldn't produce such an item. Everyone present couldn't produce such an item either. Zhuge Ming took in the expressions of everyone present. He then said, "If you can't produce an immortal's inner core, it's fine. Everyone can name a price, and everyone will have one chance. If I'm satisfied with what you have, I'll give you the true dragon bone marrow." Good. This is a good suggestion. I'll go first. Lien Liamo immediately shouted, then took out a jade tube and handed it to Zhuge Ming. What is this? Zhuge Ming didn't check the jade tube, but asked instead. Lien Liamo wanted to go forward and whisper to him. However, he was rejected by Zhuge Ming. There's nothing that can't be said. Just say it. Zhuge Ming said. Lien Liamo recited, Guan Guan Ju Do in the river, a gentle and graceful lady, a gentleman's desire. We men live in this world. Aren't we born to enjoy ourselves? Women, on the other hand, are able to show off our men's status. I'm sure there's no man who doesn't like women, right? In this jade tube of mine, there's information on many of the top beauties in our great sage world. Even their interests and hobbies are recorded. Fellow Taoist, you can take a look. If you take a fancy to any of them, you can approach them according to their interests and hobbies, then launch a powerful attack. When the time comes, you'll definitely be able to win the heart of the beauty. After hearing Lien Liamo's words, the corners of many people's mouths couldn't help but twitch. This Lien Liamo. What a weirdo. As expected of someone like a spoiled brat. Did he think that everyone had the same thoughts as him? Apart from eating, drinking, and playing with women, there was nothing else to do? Next. Zhuge Ming ignored Lien Liamo. You really don't know anything about romance. Lien Liamo rolled his eyes and said, An old man said, I once obtained a Taoist scripture passed down from an ancient immortal in the primordial era. It contains endless wonders, and I can copy it for you. Zhuge Ming didn't say anything directly. Instead, he wanted to see what other people had. He needed to weigh the pros and cons. After the old man finished speaking, a middle-aged cultivator said, I have an unparalleled divine ability here, but it's incomplete. Even so, it's still heaven-defying. I plan to use this divine ability to exchange for true dragon bone marrow with you. After the middle-aged cultivator, the only female cultivator said, I have an unrefined Qiankuan gourd here. It's said that it's a gourd formed from the most ancient immortal root. One of the three pure ones, Taishang Laojun, had a treasure that was refined from this Qiankuan gourd. It's said that it can absorb all living things in the world, and it only takes 49 days to refine anyone to death. Fellow Taoist, you can use the Qiankuan gourd to refine such a supreme treasure. The cultivators said one after another. Naturally, the items they took out were all extremely precious. There were only two people left. Gongzi Huang, Lin Feng. Gongzi Huang said, I'm sure you've heard of the antediluvian secret realm. After hearing the words Eldritch Mystery Realm, many people's expressions changed abruptly. Gongzi Huang continued, This is the most mysterious and ancient mystery realm in the Eldritch era. The inheritance and treasures inside are unimaginable. I have a token here, which is a token to enter the Eldritch Mystery Realm. The Eldritch Mystery Realm appears once every 10 million years. Calculating the time, it should appear somewhere in the starry sky world in a few years. When the time comes, the holder of the token will be able to sense it. At that time, you can find the Eldritch Mystery Realm and enter it. Once you enter the Eldritch Mystery Realm, you'll obtain unimaginable opportunities. After Gongzi Huang finished speaking, a light flashed in his hand. A token appeared in his hand. Chapter 3684. Gongzi Huang should have more than one token to enter the antediluvian secret realm, or else he wouldn't have taken out this token at this moment. The antediluvian secret realm, the biggest secret realm of the antediluvian era, the secret realm with the most opportunities. Since ancient times, countless people wanted to find the antediluvian secret realm, to explore the antediluvian secret realm. However, it was still difficult to find the antediluvian secret realm. Now, with this token, there was hope to enter the antediluvian secret realm. Therefore, this token, it was indeed too attractive. Compared to the antediluvian secret realm token that Gongzi Huang took out, although the other people took out various precious items, however, it was still incomparable to Gongzi Huang's token. Many people shook their heads. They felt that they had no hope. Everyone knew how to choose. Zhuge Ming looked at Lin Feng and said, "What are you going to use to persuade me?" Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. When Gongzi Huang took out the antediluvian secret realm token, Lin Feng knew that ordinary items, even emperor weapons, were not as attractive as the antediluvian secret realm token. As for the more precious treasures, for example, treasures like the Bell of Hell were too important to Lin Feng. He couldn't take them out. Therefore, Lin Feng knew, if he wanted to suppress Gongzi Huang to make a deal with Zhuge Ming, he couldn't use conventional methods. Conventional methods naturally referred to using items to make a deal with Zhuge Ming. At this moment, he needed to use some unconventional methods. Gongzi Huang looked at Lin Feng indifferently and couldn't help but reveal a hint of mockery. Gongzi Huang was ruthless. When Lin Feng had received 1,500,000 celestial stones, Lin Feng smiled. He already had the intention to kill Lin Feng. However, Withered Silent City was not a place to make a move. Therefore, he was waiting for an opportunity. A chance for me to do something for you. However, the prerequisite is that what you want me to do doesn't go against my conscience and it won't harm anyone. Lin Feng said. Everyone looked at each other. Then, a faint smile appeared on his face. This kid, who did he think he was? With empty words, it was the true dragon's marrow that wanted to escape. Was he daydreaming? Zhuge Ming said, "One must know their own limits." Lin Feng said, "One must know how to seize opportunities." Everyone couldn't help but slander him incessantly. This brat seemed to think too highly of himself. This guy, could it be that he really thought of himself as a powerful figure? In the eyes of everyone, very soon, Lin Feng would be crushed by the cruel reality. Let him know. In this world, it wasn't as simple as he thought. Zhuge Ming took a deep look at Lin Feng. A light flashed in his hand. A space crystal appeared. Sealed within the space crystal was a ball of liquid. Groan. A loud dragon roar was heard. A true dragon was flying in the space crystal. Waves of dragon roars resounded throughout the world. That was a true dragon. It was not a true dragon. Instead, it was formed by the spiritual aura of the true dragon's bone marrow. True dragon marrow. Cries of surprise could be heard. Everyone looked at the true dragon bone marrow with burning gazes. This was definitely a supreme treasure. Refining pills had an obvious effect on one's cultivation. Zhuge Ming flicked his finger. Whoosh! The space crystal flew out and landed in Lin Feng's hand. Everyone was dumbfounded. No one had expected such a situation. Zhuge Ming. He actually chose to make a deal with Lin Feng. It was really shocking. Lin Feng was a young cultivator. He didn't take out any treasures. He only uttered a fleeting promise. Zhuge Ming actually chose Lin Feng. It was really unbelievable. Among everyone, the one with the ugliest expression was none other than Gongzi Huang. Originally, he was very confident. He believed that the true dragon bone marrow belonged to him. Who would have thought that the true dragon bone marrow would actually fall into Lin Feng's hands? Fellow cultivator, you have to consider carefully, Gongzi Huang said. You don't have to worry about that, Zhuge Ming said indifferently. Then he looked at Lin Feng and said, I know who you are. We will meet again. After saying that, Zhuge Ming stood up. Then he left. Lin Feng frowned. Zhuge Ming actually knew his identity. This made Lin Feng very surprised. In his impression, he didn't seem to know Zhuge Ming. Of course, maybe Zhuge Ming had seen him before. So, he recognized him. Eat, 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 I want to eat. Xiaolong, who was in the time-space, couldn't wait to shout. Lin Feng was astonished by the little guy's digestive abilities. After all, not long ago, this little guy had just eaten a dragon core. Logically speaking, he was so young. After eating the dragon core, he would need some time to digest before he could continue to eat other things. But this was obviously not the case for Xiaolong. After eating the dragon core, it didn't even fall asleep. It was estimated that the energy of the dragon core, it had already been digested by Xiaolong. The stronger the race, the stronger the digestive ability. Lin Feng still didn't know which race Xiaolong belonged to. He suspected that Xiaolong was a descendant of the ancestor dragon. But there wasn't much substantial evidence for this suspicion. You're awesome. You're still awesome. You actually used an empty sentence to cheat the true dragon's bone marrow away. If I had known earlier, I would have said the same thing, Lian Limo said. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart, if you say that, Zhu Gaming will probably throw you out directly. Out of sight, out of mind. Lian Limo still hadn't forgotten to ask Lin Feng for benefits. He said, hurry up and give me some immortal stones. At least half. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that the next time my sister wants to deal with you, I'll be able to stop her. This guy obviously had a hidden meaning in his words, threatening Lin Feng. Lin Feng patted Lian Limo's shoulder and said earnestly, your sister was also present at that time. She didn't get angry when she saw me using her name to make a fortune. Do you know why? Why? Lian Limo asked doubtfully. He really didn't understand this matter. His sister's temper. She actually didn't flip out. It was really unbelievable. I usually call your sister Little Shang Shang. Lin Feng said. You're my brother-in-law? Lian Limo's eyes widened. The sun really rose from the west. There was actually someone who could make his sister admire him? I'll go back to the clan and tell my father about this, Lian Limo said, then ran off in a flash. Who was this kid? How dare he take advantage of Lian Yunshang? Wasn't he courting death? And this idiot Lian Limo actually believed it just like that. This is too much. Gongzi Huang looked at Lin Feng with an indifferent expression. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. Lin Feng looked at Gongzi Huang indifferently. This person was incomparably terrifying. He had entered the myriad tribe's sacred palace to cultivate for 3,000 years. But so what? Chapter 3685. Gongzi Huang was slightly taken aback. Then, his expression darkened completely. He had never thought that Lin Feng would dare to refute him. Gongzi Huang was a lofty existence. Who would dare to refute him? In the great sage world, no one dared to offend him. But Lin Feng dared. This made Gongzi Huang's desire to kill Lin Feng even more. Do you know that people like you usually don't even have the right to talk to me? But now, if you don't want face when I give you face, then I don't mind letting you know what a lowly wretch you are. Gongzi Huang looked at Lin Feng with an indifferent expression. The rest of the people stayed to watch the dispute with great interest. Everyone knew that Gongzi Huang was one of Lian Yunshang's suitors. It was just that Lian Yunshang did not agree. Lin Feng had made his relationship with Lian Yunshang sound so ambiguous. Perhaps Lin Feng and Lian Yunshang really did have a close relationship. It was no wonder that Gongzi Huang was so against this young cultivator. The others did not know that Gongzi Huang had spent 1,500,000 to buy the Purgatory Fiend Stone from Lin Feng. If they knew about this, they would know that Gongzi Huang wanted to kill Lin Feng. It was not just because of Lian Yunshang. Gongzi Huang had always been ruthless. The heavenly fiends had always been like that. How many of them had a good temper? You keep saying that others are lowly. Do you think the heavenly fiends are a noble race? Lin Feng looked at Gongzi Huang with a mocking gaze. Of course the heavenly fiends are noble. With your lowly bloodline, you are destined to look up to the heavenly fiends. Gongzi Huang looked at Lin Feng with an indifferent expression. This was a kind of pride that was emitted from his bones. The heavenly fiends. They were indeed very powerful. Lin Feng said indifferently. I'm afraid you've forgotten that your ancestors were enslaved by the primitive demons. Back then, the heavenly fiends' ancestors were merely slaves of the primitive demons. What? Have you forgotten about this period of time? A bunch of descendants of slaves are actually discussing whose bloodline is noble and whose is lowly with me? Do you think there's a need to talk about this? You're courting death. Boundless killing intent burst out from Gongzi Huang's eyes. Being enslaved by the primitive demon race had always been viewed as a great humiliation by the heavenly demon race. Whoever dared to mention this matter would be viewed as an enemy by the heaven fiend race. Therefore, no one dared to mention that the heavenly devil race had been enslaved by the primitive devil race in front of the heavenly devil race cultivators. But today, he mentioned this matter. It was like plucking fur from a tiger, breaking the ground on the Tai Sui's head. In many people's eyes, Lin Feng was courting death. They didn't think that Lin Feng was a match for Gongzi Huang. One had to know. Even among the experts of the older generation, perhaps, only those who stood at the pinnacle would be able to do so. Only then could he suppress Gongzi Huang. Although Gongzi Huang was young, however, he had already become a supreme overlord of the starry skies. Who would dare to underestimate him? Boom. After Gongzi Huang's cold voice fell, an incomparably terrifying aura was emitted from his body. That aura, it directly oppressed Lin Feng. Gongzi Huang wanted to use his aura to suppress Lin Feng. Such a terrifying aura oppression, although it wasn't directed at anyone else. However, the other cultivators in the VIP lounge still felt as if there was an immemorial mountain pressing down on them. That feeling was really terrible. It made them feel as if they were about to suffocate. It was hard to imagine. How tyrannical was Gongzi Huang? The others felt that Lin Feng was definitely going to be miserable this time. However, at this time, they realized that Lin Feng was actually fine. What a bunch of clowns. Lin Feng couldn't help but curl his lips and look at Gongzi Huang with a mocking gaze. Everyone was shocked. Firstly, they were shocked that Lin Feng could ignore Gongzi Huang's powerful aura. Secondly, Lin Feng was actually provoking Gongzi Huang again. Was this guy really not afraid of Gongzi Huang? Could it be that he was hiding some powerful trump card? Since you want to die, this young master can fulfill your wish. Gongzi Huang's expression was indifferent as he walked towards Lin Feng, wanting to take action against Lin Feng. At this moment, Yao Yu walked in and said, Gongzi Huang, this is the Divine Wind Tower. This is not a place for you to fight. Before you do anything, you should think twice before you act. You're protecting him? Gongzi Huang looked at Yao Yu with a gloomy expression. In this world, you can't do anything as you wish. You have to abide by some rules. Why? Didn't anyone teach you this? Yao Yu said coldly. Lin Feng was surprised. Normally, he only felt that Yao Yu was a very charming woman. Although Yao Yu's cultivation was also very tyrannical, she gave people the feeling that she was charming and seductive. Today, Yao Yu was actually so strong. To be able to become the chief manager of the Divine Wind Tower, Yao Yu was naturally not a simple person. He had underestimated this woman before. Now that Yao Yu had appeared, the first reason was to uphold the rules set by the Divine Wind Tower. The second reason was that Yao Yu had fallen out with Gongzi Huang was to support Lin Feng. This point was also quite thought-provoking. Good. Very good. Yao Yu, I'll remember you. Gongzi Huang looked at Yao Yu with an indifferent expression. Then, he looked at Lin Feng and said, Do you only know how to hide behind a woman? A person like you doesn't even have the right to die in my hands. Don't worry, I won't kill you personally because that will dirty my hands. Lin Feng said indifferently, I don't mind stepping on you personally. After I step on you and dirty my shoes, I can change them for a new pair. Everyone was speechless. Gongzi Huang was speechless. Yao Yu was speechless. The corner of Gongzi Huang's mouth twitched violently. Lin Feng's ability to talk was indeed impressive. Gongzi Huang did not say anything else. Arguing with Lin Feng would only infuriate him to death. Let's go, Gongzi Huang said in a deep voice. He took the lead and walked out. Gongzi Huang's followers followed closely behind him. The others did not stay and left one after another. Thank you for helping me out just now. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said. Yao Yu charmingly smiled and said, In any case, with young master's ability, you shouldn't be afraid of Gongzi Huang. Just now, I targeted Gongzi Huang because I wanted to tell young master that our Divine Wind Hall has always been young master's friend. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. Yao Yu's personality had always been straightforward. This was one of the things that people liked about her. From Yao Yu's words, he could roughly guess. The Divine Wind Tower. They already knew his identity. The Divine Wind Tower was not simple. The power behind it was most likely the City Lord's mansion. The City Lord's mansion master was a member of the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan. Therefore, the Divine Wind Tower had a close relationship with the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan. Chapter 3686. Lin Feng smiled and said, I also like to be friends with celestial beings. Fairy's personality. It's very likable. Is it just my personality that is likable? Yao Yu asked with a charming smile. Of course, you look like a celestial being. You're so beautiful that anyone who sees you would be attracted to you, said Lin Feng while smiling. Yao Yu stared at Lin Feng and asked, then, is Lin Gongzi tempted by Yao Yu? Lin Feng gently lifted Yao Yu's snow-white chin and looked at her delicate face up close. This woman, she was really beautiful. But unfortunately, Lin Feng was not tempted. Lin Feng had many women. All of them were peerless beauties. Now, there were only a few women who could make Lin Feng fall in love. There seemed to be fewer and fewer of them. If you want to make me fall in love, you might need to work harder, Lin Feng said. Yao Yu bit her red lips and said, how hard should I work? Is it convenient for you to tell me? Lin Feng smiled and said, I was just joking with you a moment ago. Fairy is such a peerless beauty, so I'm naturally tempted. Unfortunately, I'm now wholeheartedly focused on cultivation. Otherwise, I definitely do everything I can to pursue Fairy. Yao Yu laughed. She was so beautiful even when she laughed. She said, Yao Yu is already very satisfied to be able to make you fall in love with me. I don't dare to hope that I can have a relationship with you. Lin Feng smiled and did not continue the topic. Instead, he said, it's getting late. I will take my leave. I will send you off. Yao Yu said. Lin Feng nodded. Accompanied by Yao Yu, he walked out. On the other side, after Lien Limo left the black market, he went straight to the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan's territory. After returning to the clan, he quickly went to see his father. Lien Yunshang and Lien Limo's father was called Lien Shuxian. He had been in control of the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan for more than 100,000 years. Of course, Lien Yunshang and Lien Limo's grandfather was still alive, but he had chosen to live in seclusion to pursue the ultimate Tao. He didn't want to be disturbed by trivial matters. That was why he passed the authority of the family to Lien Shuxian. Among the experts of the Sacred War Alliance who were about to break through to the Emperor realm, one of them was Lien Yunshang and Lien Limo's grandfather. Lien Limo rushed into Lien Shushuan's study. How dare you? Lien Shuxian had always had an extremely strict personality. He had 7 sons. The most disappointing of all was Lien Limo. Lien Limo was also basking in his sister's limelight. Otherwise, with his temperament, not having his legs broken by Lien Shuxian was already not bad. In truth, Lien Limo was extremely afraid of his father. If not for his sister's matter, he would have been forced to flee. He wouldn't even look for his father. Your son was blinded by an urgent matter just now. Please forgive me, father. Lien Limo quickly apologized. What is it? Lien Shuxian asked in a deep voice. Lien Limo was a spoiled brat, and he had an extremely amusing personality. He was always very interested in the gossip of others, not to mention the gossip of his own sister. Lien Limo said, Father, do you know that my sister has a lover? What nonsense are you talking about? Lien Shushuan's expression suddenly sank. Lien Yunshang's talent. It was too heaven-defying. The only pity was that she was a girl. Therefore, Lien Shuxian or the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan would never allow Lien Yunshang to casually have emotional entanglements with other men. Lien Yunshang was destined to sacrifice a lot for the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan, including her feelings. Or rather, who Lien Yunshang would marry in the future was not up to her to decide. I'm not lying. There's a guy with the surname Lin. 2 days ago, he used my sister's name to make a fortune, and he even called my sister Little Shangchang. Father, if they're not lovers, who would dare to call my sister that? Lien Limo said. Lien Shuxian couldn't help but frown. He understood Lien Yunshang's temper quite well. Although Lien Yunshang was as beautiful as a goddess, she looked charming and flirtatious, gentle as water. But in reality, she didn't have a good temper. Lien Yunshang's prestige in the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan was extremely high because she had been teaching her peers a lesson since she was young. As she grew older, then she began to challenge the experts in the clan. The most important thing was, once they started fighting, she had no intention of stopping at all. Those who didn't know would think that it was a life and death battle. Several respected elders in the clan were seriously injured. But after the incident, Lien Yunshang kept apologizing. These elders couldn't be calculative with the juniors, right? So later, the people of the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan all avoided Lien Yunshang when they saw her. They were afraid that Lien Yunshang would drag them to be her sparring partner. That would be a fate worse than death. So, with Lien Yunshang's personality, she was definitely someone who couldn't tolerate sand in her eyes. If she didn't have an intimate relationship with another man, if anyone dared to take advantage of her, it would be strange if they didn't get beaten half to death. What's the name of that guy with the surname Lin? Lien Shuxian asked in a deep voice. Lien Limo said, I don't know what that guy's name is, but I secretly used a precious crystal ball to imprint his appearance. After Lien Limo finished speaking, he handed a crystal ball to Lin Feng and Lien Shuxian. Okay, you can leave too. You don't have to worry about this matter, Lien Shuxian said. Then I'll take my leave. Lien Limo left the study. In the next few hours, Yi Zichen had already made his decision. The people of the Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan began to discuss this matter. Lien Limo was a blabbermouth. He didn't care if there was evidence or not. This guy said that his sister Lien Yunshang had affairs with a man. When Lien Yunshang went out, she found that many people were pointing at her and whispering about something in private. After asking around, she found out what was going on. Lien Yunshang was so angry that she went straight to Lien Limo. She didn't care if he was her biological brother. She went up and beat him up. Sister, I'm innocent. I'm really innocent. That guy with the surname Lin told me that he was my brother-in-law. I was deceived by him, shouted Lien Limo. He wanted to make Lin Feng the scapegoat. Previously, she had been played by Lin Feng outside the Divine Wind restaurant. Lien Yunshang hadn't vented her anger yet. Now, Lin Feng had spread rumors that she was his woman. Lien Yunshang was on the verge of exploding. Lien Yunshang had wanted to teach Lin Feng a lesson before, so she had already found out where Lin Feng lived. Lien Yunshang grabbed Lien Limo's collar. Chapter 3687. When the little dragon swallowed the dragon core, it didn't fall into a deep sleep. But this time, the little dragon fell into a deep sleep after swallowing the true dragon bone marrow. The little guy's digestive ability was extremely strong. But, after all, it had swallowed 2 treasures containing pure energy in a very short period of time. It needed some time to completely digest the energy. For some young beasts, deep sleep was the best way. After returning to his residence, Lin Feng planned to have a good rest for a few days. Then he would head to the area where the Immortal Gods Alliance was located. When he arrived at the Immortal Gods Alliance, he didn't necessarily look for the 3 human experts immediately. Lin Feng decided to observe for a while and inquire about the specific situation of the 3 human experts. Then he would consider whether to show himself. People's hearts were unpredictable. Of course, Lin Feng was worried that the 3 strongest cultivators of the human clan were plotting against him. This kind of thing. It wasn't completely impossible. Lin Feng had just returned to his residence not long ago. There was a loud bang. Lin Feng sensed that the entire house was shaking violently. Someone was attacking the restriction of the house, so the restriction counterattacked. Therefore, under the impact of the powerful energy, only then would the house shake violently. Bastard! Bastard! Hurry up and come out for this fairy. At this time, there was a shout outside. After hearing the curses, Zhang Xian was stunned. Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Wasn't that Lien Yunshang's voice? Was Lien Yunshang causing trouble for him? Such a big commotion naturally attracted a lot of people. Lien Yunshang was very famous. So many people couldn't help but point and whisper to each other. Sister, every wrong has its perpetrator. If you want to take revenge, you should look for that Lin guy, right? Can you put me down now? You see, so many people are pointing at me. I'm really embarrassed to be caught like this. Lien Limo said with a bitter smile, looking at Lien Yunshang with pleading eyes. He was lifted in the air by Lien Yunshang like a chicken. It was hard to struggle. It was really embarrassing. Lien Yunshang glared at Lien Limo coldly and said, "Shut up. You aren't a good person either." Lien Limo paled at the sight of the furious Lien Yunshang. Although they were siblings, Lien Yunshang was still angry. Lien Yunshang would not show mercy. Little Shang Shang. Why was he so angry? Why don't you come down and have a cup of tea in peace? Drinking tea can reduce internal heat. Lin Feng walked out of the courtyard and smiled at Lien Yunshang. Who is that kid? How dare he call Lien Yunshang Little Shang? Wasn't this a term of endearment between lovers? Did that brat eat a bear's heart or a leopard's guts? I don't know her. He had never seen it before. Could he be Lien Yunshang's lover? Otherwise, why would he dare to call Lien Yunshang that? But Lien Yunshang came here in a rage. She looked like she wanted to eat someone. How do you explain that? Could it be that the kid is not satisfied with the food in the bowl and is looking at the food in the pot? Many of the surrounding cultivators couldn't help but start discussing. Many of them even felt that Lin Feng didn't only have Lien Yunshang as his lover. Moreover, he wasn't satisfied. How dare he flirt with other women outside? As a result, Lien Yunshang was completely infuriated. One had to admit that these people's thinking was very fast. Even this kind of thing, they actually thought of it. Brother-in-law, save me. I'm about to be beaten to death. Only you can save me from this abyss of suffering. Lien Limo wailed loudly when he saw Lin Feng. Damn, brother-in-law? Lien Limo actually called that guy brother-in-law? Is that guy really Lien Yunshang's man? Lien Yunshang, such a talented girl, is already taken. Oh heavens, oh earth. Why is this happening? I was still thinking that I could get close to her one day, but it seems like there's no hope now. The most hateful thing is that that guy doesn't cherish a goddess like Lien Yunshang. He doesn't know how lucky he is. Support goddess Lien Yunshang and kick that guy out. The surrounding cultivators were filled with righteous indignation. They were envious of Lin Feng. All of them were cursing Lin Feng. After all, Lin Feng was their goddess's man. If you say another word, I'll cut off your tongue. Lien Yunshang glared at Lien Limo, who was being held in one hand. Lien Limo's face turned pale when he heard Lien Yunshang's words. He didn't dare to say another word. He quickly shut his mouth. He only looked at Lin Feng for help. Lin Feng looked at Lien Limo speechlessly. This guy was the kind of person who caused trouble for himself and implicated others. Moreover, he didn't have the ability to solve the problem. To put it simply, he was a person who liked to show off but didn't have the ability to do so. Fortunately, this guy had also called him brother-in-law a few times. Although he was just a cheap brother-in-law, he was still brother-in-law, wasn't he? Lin Feng looked at Lien Yunshang and said, Little Yunshang, did Lien Limo, that bastard, offend you? Don't be angry. It's not worth it to be angry over that bastard. Lien Yunshang rolled her eyes. She realized that Lin Feng was as shameless as ever. On the left was Little Yunshang. On the right was Little Yunshang. He made it seem like they were really close. You shut up too. Lien Yunshang threw Lien Limo out of her hand. Then, she quickly flew toward Lin Feng. Lien Yunshang descended from the sky. She slapped her palm toward Lin Feng. Endless immortal light surged out of Lien Yunshang's body. After feeling the terrifying power of Lien Yunshang's palm, many people turned pale with fright. I've long heard that Lien Yunshang has a fiery temper. It seems like it's true. That guy deserves it. Who told him not to cherish Lien Yunshang? It's best if he's beaten to death. If I can get the beauty back, why would Lien Yunshang be angry? He dotes on her in everything. Who isn't like that? That guy doesn't deserve Lien Yunshang at all. Seeing Lien Yunshang attack, the surrounding cultivators who were watching the show became excited. They were looking forward to Lin Feng being slapped to death by Lien Yunshang. Then, they would have a chance. She's murdering her husband. Lin Feng did not fight Lien Yunshang head-on. Instead, he quickly moved to the left. After dodging Lien Yunshang's attack, he shouted loudly, If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll break all your bones. Lien Yunshang's palm missed Lin Feng. Then, she glared at Lin Feng fiercely and threatened him through gritted teeth. Lin Feng said earnestly, Little Yunshang, don't be angry. After all, you're not alone now. If you hurt your body, my heart will ache. Not alone? What does that mean? Could it be that Lin Yunshang is pregnant? Many people were dumbfounded. Chapter 3688. Lin Limo was indeed an idiot. After knowing that his sister was pregnant, not only did he not blame Lin Feng for not paying attention to his cheap brother-in-law, instead, he was complacent because he had become an uncle. When he saw Lin Yunshang carrying Lin Limo and charging over angrily, Lin Feng had already guessed what had happened. Although he had only seen Lin Limo once, Lin Feng believed that he had a good eye for people. Lin Limo had an unruly personality. Naturally, he could do anything. He probably wouldn't say anything good when he returned. Then, after being beaten up by Lin Yunshang, he would slander him. Then, Lin Yunshang came over with anger. Needless to say, Lin Feng's guess was extremely accurate. Everything. Lin Feng's guess was pretty close to the mark. But even though he had guessed all this, Lin Feng couldn't be angry at Lin Limo. Bastard, bastard, I'll kill you. Lin Yunshang couldn't help but roar. She leaped out and charged toward Lin Feng. Her eyes were spitting fire. Boom. Lin Yunshang attacked. This time, 7 immortal lights rushed out of her body. The 7 immortal lights surrounded Lin Feng. Swoosh. There was a flash of light. Something amazing happened. The 7 immortal lights turned into 7 fairies. Every single one of them was breathtakingly beautiful. Now, the 7 fairies were charging toward Lin Feng. They were fairies evolved from a divine ability. They weren't real fairies. This divine ability was abnormally terrifying. After feeling the power of this divine ability, Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. This was definitely a divine ability that defied the natural order. It was very likely that Lin Yunshang had learned this divine ability from the myriad tribe's sacred palace. But Lin Feng wasn't afraid at all. After breaking through to the Emperor realm, Lin Feng's combat strength had increased to an unimaginably terrifying level. Lin Yunshang was indeed powerful, but Lin Feng thought Lin Yunshang was still lacking compared to him. Technique of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Facing the attacks of the 7 fairies, Lin Feng made his move. He had condensed this powerful divine ability. This was a supreme divine technique passed down from the previous era. Its power was terrifying enough. When this divine ability was unleashed, within Lin Feng's body, he exuded an aura of supremacy and supremacy. At that moment, it was as if Lin Feng was about to become the ruler of the world. With Lin Feng as the center, the surrounding void began to distort. Dense golden runes appeared in the distorted void. When the attacks of the 7 fairies arrived, they were all blocked by the dense runes. Afterward, those runes immediately engulfed the 7 fairies. The bodies of the 7 fairies collapsed. Lin Yunshang was horrified. She could not believe her eyes. In the past, she was one of the top 100 geniuses of the heavenly sage great world. Although some people might not have participated in the battle of geniuses for various reasons, 90% of the top geniuses had participated in that battle. Lin Yunshang could make it to the top 100. It was enough to prove how powerful she was. Moreover, later, Lin Yunshang entered the Myriad Tribe Palace to cultivate. Not only did she learn some heaven-defying divine abilities, her cultivation also improved by leaps and bounds. But even so, today, she made her move. She had unleashed a powerful attack. It was actually broken by Lin Feng. Lin Yunshang could not accept this. Brother-in-law, you are so powerful. I admire you so much. Lin Limo immediately shouted excitedly. He had been beaten by his sister since he was young. Every time, he was beaten up badly. But there was nothing he could do. Lin Yunshang was too powerful. He wanted to resist, but he could not resist. In the Crimson Demonic Snake Clan, even the highly respected elders did not dare to fight with Lin Yunshang, because Lin Yunshang was too powerful. Now, Lin Limo finally saw someone who could subdue his sister. Lin Limo was so excited that he almost burst into tears. Himself. Could he finally find someone to rely on? Himself. Could he stop being beaten in the future? The cultivators who were watching the show were extremely shocked at this moment. Lin Yunshang was powerful. They knew it very well. But Lien Yunshang attacked. She was actually suppressed by the young human cultivator. It was unbelievable. No wonder that guy could win the beauty's heart. He was indeed too powerful. Not bad. Not bad. The power of that divine ability is not bad, Lin Feng said with a smile. Lien Yunshang's face darkened, because she heard Lin Feng's tone. The divine ability that she had just used was only at the level of not bad. Was this guy looking down on her? Thinking of this, Lien Yunshang became even angrier. She looked coldly at Lin Feng and said, "Don't be so smug. Soon, you will be beaten to the point where you can't even recognize yourself." As soon as she finished speaking, Lien Yunshang leaped out. Her body turned into a dazzling immortal light. She was like a flying immortal. She quickly attacked. This divine ability was called the Nine Heavens Flying Immortal Technique. It was also a heaven-defying divine ability. Lien Yunshang seemed to have turned into an omnipotent fairy from the Nine Heavens. When she was flying over quickly, Lin Feng felt an extremely terrifying aura from Lien Yunshang's body. Lien Yunshang's divine ability. It was enough to threaten him. What a powerful divine ability. Is this also a divine ability passed down in the Myriad Tribe's Sacred Palace? The Myriad Tribe's Sacred Palace is becoming more and more attractive to me. Lin Feng's eyes couldn't help but light up. Lien Yunshang quickly attacked. This time, facing Lien Yunshang's attack, Lin Feng directly used the Supreme Reincarnation Fist to attack Lien Yunshang. Bang! Lin Feng and Lien Yunshang exchanged blows. Lien Yunshang was originally very confident in her Nine Heavens Flying Immortal Technique, but when she received Lin Feng's Supreme Reincarnation Punch, she was astonished. Her expression abruptly changed, because she realized that Lin Feng's punch was destroying her divine ability. Lien Yunshang wanted to retreat quickly, but it was too late. Lin Feng waved his hand. He used the 8 divine seals. A dense array of runes shrouded Lien Yunshang. They wrapped around Lien Yunshang's body. Those runes. They directly sealed Lin Feng and Lien Yunshang's shoulders. Lin Feng carried Lien Yunshang on his shoulders. "Put me down. You bastard. Put me down." Lien Yunshang began to struggle violently after her dermic powers were sealed, but she couldn't break free at all. "Kid, didn't you hear? Fairy Yunshang asked you to put her down. Why aren't you letting her go?" Many cultivators said coldly. Lin Feng said, "We're just flirting. What does it have to do with trash like you? Get lost, or I'll make your heads explode." Chapter 3689. I'm arrogant. I'm happy. Lin Feng was still as arrogant as ever. His attitude was so arrogant that it made people want to hammer him to death. However, when they thought about how Lien Yunshang was suppressed by Lin Feng despite her powerful cultivation level, they did not dare to make a move. Moreover, the matter between Lin Feng and Lien Yunshang had nothing to do with them. "Brother-in-law, my sister is pregnant. Don't carry her like this. You'll crush her belly," Lien Limo reminded him. "Lien Limo, you bastard. I don't have a brother like you." Lien Yunshang could not break free, so she could only vent her anger on Lien Limo. Lien Limo said, "Sister, you can't forget about your brother just because you have a baby. Our blood is thicker than water. Let go of me. I'm going to hammer that idiot Lien Limo to death." Lien Yunshang's eyes were spitting fire. Lien Limo said, "Sister, you used to praise me for being smart, but now you're calling me an idiot. People say that pregnancy makes a woman stupid for 3 years. I didn't believe it at first, but after seeing you like this, I really believe it. However, I won't blame you since you're pregnant. Sister, you have to stop saying such silly things in the future. After all, it'll damage your reputation if word gets out." Damn it, this guy is really... Many cultivators who were watching the show rolled their eyes. Lin Feng was speechless as well. Lien Limo, he was really the weirdo in Withered City. "I don't have a brother like you." Lien Yunshang turned her head away. Out of sight, out of mind. Lin Feng carried Lien Yunshang in his arms and walked toward his courtyard. "Quick, get someone to save me," Lien Yunshang shouted. "Sister, don't say such things out of anger. Enjoy your time with my brother-in-law." I'll go back and think of a cool name for my future nephew. As soon as he finished speaking, Lien Limo fled. Nephew my ass. Lien Yunshang could not help but curse. She was about to cry because of her idiot brother. Bang! Lin Feng carried Lien Yunshang into the courtyard. Then, he closed the door. This is Withering Silent City, the headquarters of our Scarlet Demonic Snake Clan. You better put me down quickly. If you dare to touch me, you better think about the consequences. Lien Yunshang began to threaten Lin Feng. Do you really want to come down? Lin Feng looked at Lien Yunshang with a faint smile. Nonsense. Lien Yunshang glared at Lin Feng. When this hot and sexy beauty got angry, she was also quite beautiful. Lin Feng loosened his grip. Bang! Lien Yunshang fell to the ground. He landed on his bottom. Tears were about to fall out. You bastard! How dare you treat me like this? You don't even know how to show mercy to a woman. You're worse than a beast. Lien Yunshang cursed. Said Lin Feng, you were the one who told me to put you down. I just did what you told me to do. Lien Yunshang said angrily, I did ask you to put me down, but I didn't ask you to put me down like this. Lin Feng said, but you didn't say that I couldn't put you down like this. Lien Yunshang was so angry at Lin Feng that she gritted her teeth. Ever since this bastard appeared in her world, she was angry at him. She seemed to be more angry than all the other living beings before her. She was at a disadvantage. She seemed to be at a disadvantage more than all the other living beings before her. This made Lien Yunshang extremely depressed. Lien Yunshang got up from the ground. Her dermic powers were sealed. Therefore, she did not dare to run away from Lin Feng, because she knew that she could not run away at all. If she ran away, she would anger Lin Feng. What if this guy went berserk? Who are you? Lien Yunshang looked at Lin Feng and asked. She was extremely curious about Lin Feng's identity. With her strength, it was very difficult for anyone in the younger generation of Heavenly Sage Great World to defeat her. However, Lin Feng did it. And Lin Feng was just a human cultivator, nothing more. Furthermore, he was a very young human cultivator. Therefore, Lien Yunshang was so curious about Lin Feng's identity. She wanted to know who Lin Feng was. I'm your husband. Lin Feng winked at Lien Yunshang and said. This otherworldly woman had such a fiery temper. Lin Feng liked to tease Lien Yunshang. Bullsh *T. Lien Yunshang glared at Lin Feng fiercely. If you want to know who I am, come over and massage my legs and shoulders. Lin Feng sat on a rocking chair outside and smiled at Lien Yunshang. Why don't you die? Lien Yunshang said hatefully. However, the woman walked straight toward Lin Feng. Then, she began to massage Lin Feng's legs and shoulders. Although she didn't want to do it, however, she was curious about Lin Feng. Her curiosity overcame her insistence. It feels so good. Lin Feng was enjoying it. I'll pinch you to death. Pinch you to death. Pinch you to death. Lien Yunshang began to increase her strength. However, Lin Feng still looked like he was enjoying it. Lien Yunshang had the urge to punch Lin Feng in the face. However, she restrained herself in the end. An hour later, Lien Yunshang stopped and asked, Can you tell me who you are now? Lin Feng smiled and said, I'm loved by everyone. Flowers bloom when they see me. People call me the little white dragon of the river. I have the most handsome face in the world. The #1 genius of the human race, Lin Feng. Lien Yunshang was shocked when she heard the name Lin Feng. Lin Feng, you're that Lin Feng from the 9 states? Lien Yunshang looked at Lin Feng in shock. Although she had never seen Lin Feng before, however, when Lien Yunshang walked out of the Myriad Tribe's sacred palace, she had heard too many legends about Lin Feng. Moreover, more than a year ago, Lin Feng even underwent his tribulation in the withered forest. After his tribulation, he even killed 7 or 8 sovereigns. This incident, it caused a huge uproar in the Heavenly Sage Great World. Currently, the Sacred War Alliance was looking for Lin Feng everywhere. However, there had been no clues. Many people thought that Lin Feng had escaped from the Heavenly Sage Great World. Therefore, the various factions looking for Lin Feng could not find his whereabouts. Lin Feng's whereabouts were unknown. However, who would have thought? Lin Feng did not leave the Withered Silence Prefecture at all. Moreover, he swaggered into the Withered Silence City. Are you shocked? Are you surprised? As your husband, I should give you some face, right? How about this? Let's have our wedding night tonight. What do you think? Lin Feng looked at Lien Yunshang with a smile and said. Lien Yunshang's pretty face immediately turned red. After learning about Lin Feng's true identity, Lien Yunshang realized that Lin Feng was much more pleasing to the eye than before. In your dreams, Lien Yunshang snorted. This woman's every move, frown, and smile. Chapter 3690. The afterglow of the setting sun dyed the sky a blood-red color. In the courtyard, Lin Feng started a bonfire. He had some free time. Lin Feng planned to cook some delicious dishes himself. When he had nothing to do, he could do this to relax his tense mind. She saw Lin Feng cutting the flood dragon meat. Lien Yunshang rolled her eyes and said, "You're still eating these nonsensical things?" Lien Yunshang usually paid attention to her diet. This was because cultivators didn't need much food. Eating was also to replenish their strength. Powerful cultivators like her would often choose spirit fruits to satisfy their hunger. This was because there were fewer impurities in spirit fruits. Moreover, spirit fruits contained pure energy that was beneficial to cultivation. If they ate other food, they would accumulate a lot of impurities. These impurities were far more than the impurities accumulated in the body from eating spirit fruits. These impurities needed a certain amount of time to be refined. This was also the reason why so many cultivators didn't like to eat other food to satisfy their hunger. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Life is not the only thing we need to focus on. Cultivation isn't the only thing we need to do. We should also enjoy life." Lien Yunshang couldn't help but frown slightly. She didn't agree with Lin Feng's statement, but she didn't refute it. Because everyone had their own way of life. There was no need to impose one's way of life on others. Lien Yunshang was very smart and understood this. So, she wouldn't refute Lin Feng's point of view. Lin Feng ignored Lien Yunshang. He continued to enjoy this rare moment of peace and quiet. Lin Feng made a table full of delicious food. In addition to roasting meat, which he was best at, Lin Feng also made charcoal-roasted matsutake, crispy fried matsutake, braised winter bamboo shoots, liuozhou sour bamboo shoots, pickled tofu fresh, all fish banquet, and many other delicacies. These delicacies were all recipes that Lin Feng had researched himself. They looked, smelled, and tasted good. Bibi and the dragon rabbit flew out of the time and space after smelling the fragrance of the food. As for the dragon, it was still asleep. So it didn't come out with Bibi and the dragon rabbit. Dragon rabbit, and an even more bizarre little beast. Lien Yunshang was shocked when she saw Bibi and dragon rabbit. She could only recognize the dragon rabbit. As for what race Bibi was, she didn't know. Before that, he had never seen a creature like Bibi. The two little fellows began to enjoy the delicious food with an intoxicated expression on their faces. Lin Feng took out some fine wine. He then looked at Lien Yunshang and said with a smile, "Barbecue, delicacies, and a pot of wine. It's a heavenly experience. Do you want to try it?" "This fairy doesn't eat junk food." Lien Yunshang raised her proud head. "Then you really don't know how to enjoy life." Lin Feng shook his head. Then, he began to enjoy these delicacies. Yeah. Bibi stared wide-eyed at the wine pot in front of Lin Feng. This little guy had drunk a few times. Every time, he was drunk to death. Bibi waved its paw. Whoosh! There was a flash of light. A pot of wine flew out from Lin Feng's mountain river ring. The dragon rabbit also began to squeak at the side. Bibi passed the pot of wine to the dragon rabbit. The dragon rabbit waved its paw again. A second pot of wine flew out. The two little fellows opened the pot of wine and started gulping it down. Little drunkards. Lien Yunshang stared at the scene with her mouth agape. She couldn't help but purse her lips. She looked at Lin Feng and asked, "That snow-white little beast looks extraordinary. What race is it?" Lin Feng said, "I'm not too sure, but I believe it has an extraordinary background." Yeah, Bibi. The little guy mumbled to Lien Yunshang in a charmingly naive manner. Lien Yunshang's heart melted. Anyone who saw an adorable little beast like Bibi, they would probably fall in love with Bibi. The little guy was obviously more attractive to females. Lien Yunshang wanted to hug Bibi. Bibi immediately shook its head like a rattle. Eat, eat, eat. Bibi wants to eat. The little guy chewed on the meat while shouting. Lien Yunshang couldn't help but laugh. Bibi was simply too adorable. Lien Yunshang really wanted to snatch Bibi away. However, she could only dream about it. She wanted to snatch Lin Feng's pet away from Lin Feng. That was impossible. Moreover, Bibi was psychic. It was still young. It was extremely intelligent. Even if she snatched it away, the little guy would still run back on his own. She watched as Lin Feng, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit enjoyed the food. Lien Yunshang couldn't help but gulp. Gurgle. Sounds came from her stomach. It was the sound of hunger. Lien Yunshang looked eagerly at Lin Feng, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit, who were enjoying the food. In the end, she couldn't hold it in. She looked at Lin Feng and said, I thought about it carefully. Since you invited me to eat, it would be disrespectful if I didn't eat it all. I'll give you face and eat a few bites. Lin Feng laughed inwardly. Lien Yunshang was obviously suffering because of her pride. She wanted to eat. However, she was worried about this and that. It wasn't easy for her to make up her mind to eat. She had to find some reasons. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't expose Lien Yunshang at this time. He smiled and said, Thank you, fairy, for giving me face. It seems that it's good to be handsome. Wherever I go, people have to give me some face because of my handsome face. Shameless, Lien Yunshang muttered. Then, she picked up her chopsticks and picked up a piece of flood dragon meat. She ate it in small bites. Her eyes lit up instantly. She said, I didn't expect your culinary skills to be Lin Feng smiled and said, It's not easy to get such a comment from you. Fairy, try my barbecue. Lien Yunshang cut a small piece of barbecue meat. When she took the first bite, Lien Yunshang's eyes suddenly widened. How is it? Lin Feng asked. It's not too bad, Lien Yunshang said. Although she said it was not too bad. However, Lien Yunshang's actions clearly told Lin Feng. Lin Feng's barbecue was not as simple as not too bad, because Lien Yunshang was wolfing it down. She didn't care about her ladle-like image at all. While Lin Feng and Lien Yunshang were enjoying the food, thousands of miles away from withered Silent City, a middle-aged cultivator shrouded in holy light walked toward withered Silent City step by step. The space around the cultivator began to distort. With every step he took, he was already 1,000 meters away when he appeared again. This was an extremely terrifying existence. Lin Feng, you brat. I'll be here soon. Are you ready to die? Chapter 3691. Don't fight with me. Otherwise, I'll beat you up. Lien Yunshang couldn't help but scream. She went from not eating, to barely eating a few mouthfuls, to wolfing down the food like a hurricane. It was just a momentary change. There was a huge table full of delicious food. There was also a lot of roasted meat. Most of it was eaten by Lien Yunshang alone. Her appetite was amazing. Lin Feng, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit were all dumbfounded. Eat, eat, eat. Bibi wasn't full yet. She waved her little paws aggrievedly. How about some more roasted meat? Lin Feng looked at Bibi with a smile. The little girl nodded. Lien Yunshang's eyes lit up again when she heard about roasted meat. Lin Feng made these things. She liked roasted meat the most. It had a unique taste. It was unforgettable. After eating it, she wanted to eat more. Lien Yunshang said, Me too. Me too. Lin Feng nodded. Then, he took out the flood dragon meat and continued to roast it. In the end, almost half of the flood dragon meat was eaten. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit drank 3 jars of wine in a row. They couldn't take it anymore. They fell to the ground drunk. Lin Feng sent them back into the mountain river ring, because there was too much to eat. So, Lien Yunshang's flat stomach bulged slightly. It's getting late. Let's wash up and sleep. Lin Feng looked at Lien Yunshang and said with a smile, You really want me to sleep with you? Sure. It's going to be a long night. Lien Yunshang laughed too. Seeing Lien Yunshang's expression, Lin Feng couldn't help but shudder, because Lien Yunshang's expression was too evil. He didn't know what this woman was thinking. It was really frightening. At this moment, Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal a serious expression. He waved his hand. He removed the restriction on Lin Yunshang. Go back quickly. If you continue to stay here, I don't know what I will do to you. Lin Feng said. Shameless bastard. Lin Yunshang snorted coldly and dashed toward the door. Then, he kicked open the door. Then, he quickly left. Lin Feng, die. When Lin Yunshang was about to return to her family, suddenly, a deep voice resounded above withered silent city. A terrifying pressure. It permeated between heaven and earth. Endless holy light intertwined. Everyone saw it. In the void, a cultivator was standing there. The cultivator struck out with his palm. In an instant, a gigantic hand that blotted out the sky was formed. That big hand. He descended from the sky. Then, he slapped his palm toward a courtyard. Holy Emperor. At this moment, countless cultivators in every corner of withered silent city were alarmed. Those cultivators. They all rushed out and looked at the large hand that was surrounded by holy light in the distance with astonishment in their eyes. A holy emperor has struck. That holy emperor seemed to have shouted the name Lin Feng. Could it be the Lin Feng from Jojo? Isn't it rumored that Lin Feng has already escaped from Heavenly Sage Great World? It seems that the rumors are false. This guy is so bold. Not only did he not leave Heavenly Sage Great World, but he also swaggered into withered silent city. However, I'm afraid he won't be able to escape this time. When everyone saw a Saint Emperor make a move, they all began to discuss among themselves. Such a terrifying expert had struck. In everyone's opinion, this time, Lin Feng would definitely die. Oh no! Lin Yunshang's expression changed drastically when she saw this scene from afar. She turned around and rushed toward Lin Feng. However, a figure suddenly appeared. It was Lin Yunshang's father, Lin Shuxian. Lin Shuxian confined the void. Lin Yunshang could not struggle. Father, why are you stopping me? Lin Yunshang looked at Lin Shuxian in confusion. Actually, Lin Shuxian had gone to Lin Feng's place earlier. He saw Lin Feng and Lin Yunshang talking and laughing as they ate. He did not appear. Until this moment, he only appeared. The person who struck is Shangjuji. He's from the Holy God clan. He's also one of the top 10 holy emperors. We shouldn't get involved in this matter, Lin Shuxian said. The Crimson Demonic Snake clan was part of the Holy War Alliance. However, they had always kept a low profile. They stood aloof from worldly affairs. For example, invading Jojo and fighting the Immortal God Alliance. This clan had never participated in it. This was also related to the personalities of the Crimson Demonic Snake clan's higher-ups. Lin Shuxian naturally would not interfere in this matter. But father, Lin Yunshang wanted to refute. She did not know why at this moment. She desperately wanted to be by Lin Feng's side. Lin Yunshang even felt that Lin Feng had asked her to leave. It was very likely that he had discovered Shangjuji. Say no more, Lin Shuxian said indifferently. Bang! Shangjuji's terrifying palm slammed into the courtyard where Lin Feng was, and an earth-shaking sound was heard. However, what was shocking was that although the courtyard was shaking non-stop, it was still shaking. It did not shatter. This was because, after Lin Yunshang left, Lin Feng took action and strengthened this courtyard. So when the opponent's attack came down, it was blocked by the courtyard's restriction. Shangjuji's expression was rather gloomy. He stood in the void and looked coldly at the courtyard below. The reason why Shangjuji knew Lin Feng's whereabouts, it was because he received a secret message. Shangjuji did not know who sent him the message, but he did not care about this. He only cared about whether he could find Lin Feng. The cultivators of the Holy War Alliance wanted to kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng was born in Jojo. Back then, Lin Feng seriously hindered the invasion of the Holy War Alliance. These were only part of the reason. Until today, it was not even the biggest reason. The biggest reason was that these forces all knew how many powerful abilities, magic treasures, fortune, wealth, secrets Lin Feng had. Kill Lin Feng. They could take all these things away. Especially for experts like Shangjuji. If they could kill Lin Feng, they could take away Lin Feng's fortune. Little bastard, you think you can hide? You think you can escape death? If you think so, then you are too stupid. Today, I will take your life. Shangjuji's voice was cold. Then, step by step, He walked towards Lin Feng's courtyard. Soon, Shang Juji arrived at Lin Feng's courtyard. He directly tore apart the courtyard's great formation. Then he rushed into the courtyard. "Little bastard! You dare trick me!" Then, Shang Juji's furious roar resounded from the courtyard. What happened? The cultivators outside looked at each other in dismay, not knowing what had happened in the courtyard. It made Shang Juji so angry. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure rushed out of the courtyard. Chapter 3692. When Shang Juji had just entered Withered City to search for Lin Feng, Lin Feng felt Shang Juji's divine will lock onto him. Therefore, Lin Feng let Lian Yunshang leave. Then, he quickly set up a few large formations. Lin Feng knew that Shang Juji was too powerful. It would not be easy to escape from him. He needed a large formation. Lin Feng set up a large formation because he was in a hurry. Therefore, these few large formations were relatively simple. Therefore, it was difficult to trap Shang Juji for too long. So this person is Lin Feng from Juzhou. Kill him. When everyone saw Lin Feng rush out, they immediately began to incite the crowd to attack Lin Feng. This person's luck is monstrous. Kill him, and we can share his luck. This person has many Dharma treasures on him. Kill him, and we can share his Dharma treasures. This person has many powerful divine powers. Kill him, and we can get his divine powers. The surrounding cultivators shouted one after another. Killing intent filled the sky. A large number of cultivators surrounded Lin Feng. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Third level of supreme aura. Shatter heaven and earth. Lin Feng's expression was incomparably cold. He directly activated his supreme aura. This was an indiscriminate attack. When the terrifying aura surged out, everyone was enveloped by Lin Feng's supreme aura. In the third level of supreme aura, its power could be said to be heaven-defying. It was shocking and moving. This peerless and invincible attack instantly erupted with unimaginable power. The surrounding void directly shattered. Bang, bang, bang. Accompanied by the sound of bodies exploding, there was the sound of bodies exploding. One by one, the fleshly bodies of the cultivators shattered along with the surrounding space. Be it boundary emperors, god emperors, immortal emperors, emperor lords, or even emperor sect experts, they could not withstand Lin Feng's attack at all. Only venerable sovereigns could barely withstand Lin Feng's supreme aura attack. Retreat. Hurry up and retreat. The cultivators in the outer region cried out in horror. They were afraid that they would be enveloped by Lin Feng's domineering aura. If he was enveloped by it, he would most likely die. Lin Feng's endless domineering aura. It was truly too terrifying. The power it displayed scared the guts of the cultivators of the myriad races. Lin Feng, on the other hand, soared into the sky and quickly flew into the distance. No one dared to stop Lin Feng anymore. It's great that he's fine. Lian Yunshang looked delighted. Lian Shuxian couldn't help but take a deep breath. He'd thought that Lin Feng would die at Shang Juji's hands, but who would have thought? Surprisingly, nothing had happened to Lin Feng. Instead, it trapped Shang Juji. This child. It was truly shocking. Little bastard. I'm going to tear you to pieces. Lin Feng rushed out of Withered City. Shang Juji destroyed the array that trapped him and then roared in exasperation. He was a high and mighty existence. Below the Emperor Lord, one of the top 10 peak holy emperors, an existence that countless people looked up to. And now, he'd actually been schemed against by a young cultivator. This was hard for Shang Juji to accept. It was simply a great humiliation. It almost drove him crazy. Right now, Shang Juji only wanted to catch Lin Feng as soon as possible, and then tear Lin Feng to pieces. Only then could he vent the hatred in his heart. Shang Juji quickly rushed out. His face was filled with a sinister smile. Little bastard, I've already locked onto your aura. No matter where you run to, I'll find you. Let's go. Let's follow and watch. Many cultivators said. They followed behind Shang Juji, wanting to watch the battle. But Lin Feng and Shang Juji were too fast. Therefore, those cultivators simply couldn't catch up to Lin Feng and Shang Juji. 5 days later, Shang Juji caught up to Lin Feng. A great battle broke out between the two sides. Shangjuji, as expected of one of the top 10 peak holy emperors. His cultivation was too terrifying. Lin Feng brought out all kinds of magic treasures. He was multitasking. His peak battle strength erupted, but he was still far from being Shangjuji's opponent. His body was almost split in two by Shangjuji's ninth heaven saint god slash. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Lin Feng dodged Shangjuji's terrifying attack. Little bastard, you really don't look like someone who just broke through to the Emperor realm. I'll let you grow. How can this be? But it's all over now. No matter how amazing your talent is, if you fall early, what's the use? Shangjuji said with a sinister smile. He once again charged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was gloomy. Shangjuji was indeed too terrifying, making him feel the threat of death. Lin Feng was now locked onto by Shangjuji. He couldn't get rid of Shangjuji. Could it be? Was he really going to die at Shangjuji's hands today? That's right. Didn't the old Taoist give him a brocade pouch? Lin Feng's mind suddenly flashed. He thought of the old Taoist he saw in the black market. That old Taoist looked quite ordinary. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't really believe the old Taoist methods. But now, the situation was dangerous. Lin Feng had no other way to deal with Shangjuji. So, he could only choose to believe in the old Taoist. Lin Feng took out the brocade pouch and opened it. A golden brocade flew out. The golden brocade suddenly burst into flames. Golden light surged out from the golden brocade. Finally, the golden light turned into a golden door. Die! Shangjuji attacked, sending a palm strike towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng had almost run out of energy because of Shangjuji's attacks. Therefore, it was almost impossible to continue to resist Shangjuji's attack. When Lin Feng saw the golden gate, he didn't even think about it and immediately ran towards it. But Shangjuji's attack speed was faster. Before Lin Feng rushed into the golden door, his attack had already landed and was about to hit Lin Feng. But at this time, the golden door, holy light shone. The holy light gushing out from the golden gate blocked Shangjuji's terrifying attack. Whoosh! And at this time, Lin Feng rushed into the golden door. After Lin Feng rushed into the golden door disappeared. Damn it! Damn it! I actually let that brat escape. Shangjuji couldn't help but roar in anger. He was about to kill Lin Feng, but in the end, it was all for naught. This made him extremely depressed. In the distant forest, a mysterious person coldly looked at all of this. This little bastard really has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He's lucky this time. Let's see how he'll die next time. The mysterious person's eyes flashed with a sinister light. He had been following Lin Feng the entire time, and the reason why Shangjuji knew that Lin Feng was in Withered City. Chapter 3693. A sandstorm blew across the sky. There were very few people on the road. Lin Feng didn't know where this place was. The only thing he could confirm was that this was still the great heavenly sage world. It was just that the environment here was a little too harsh. Even though those mountain ranges were almost completely barren, there were still a lot of trees in them. There were no flowers or trees. Most of the places, it seemed to be a desert with a harsh environment. Occasionally, sandstorms would sweep across the world. Lin Feng traveled through the desert. He had been looking for a town. He hoped to find a town. During the day, the temperature was extremely hot. In the evening, Zhang Ziyan was still in the room. The temperature would become extremely cold. A loud rumbling sound could be heard. Lin Feng was alarmed. He quickly flew into the distance. A large area of the desert in front of him collapsed. An incomparably huge crater had appeared. The moonlight shone into the crater. 5 stars and moons. This is an ancient tomb? Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. He directly flew into the depths. When he flew into the ancient tomb, he immediately saw it. In the huge ancient tomb, there were densely packed coffins. In the middle of the ancient tomb, there was a huge platform. On the platform, there was a stone coffin. The moonlight shone on the stone coffin. Waves of evil aura surged out from the stone coffin. Bang! The lid of the stone coffin flew into the air. The next moment, a woman in white clothes flew out. The woman in white had her eyes closed. Her skin was snow white, and her face was exquisite and beautiful. However, her body emitted a cold and terrifying aura. She wasn't human. She was a female corpse. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, the woman in white opened her eyes. Her eyes were blood red. Lin Feng and the pair of eyes looked at each other. He immediately felt that he was being pulled into an endless purgatory. An endless number of wraiths rushed towards him. Illusion. Lin Feng was shocked. He hurriedly activated Lu Yu's stargazing chart to get rid of the illusion. When he opened his eyes, he realized that the woman was already beside him. The female corpse struck out with her palm, trying to kill Lin Feng. Then, it devoured Lin Feng's primordial yang qi. Fortunately, Lin Feng woke up in time. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous. He quickly threw a punch at the female corpse. Bang! The attacks of both sides collided. In an instant, a powerful force surged out. Lin Feng felt as if his body had been hit by an immemorial mountain. He was sent flying by the impact. His face flushed red. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Feng was horrified. The female corpse was too terrifying. Whoosh! Lin Feng didn't even think about it. He turned around and flew away. We can't leave. This fairy wants to devour your primordial yang qi to increase my strength. The female corpse said coldly. After devouring the primordial yang qi, her cultivation increased rapidly. However, Lin Feng would die. Bah! You're just a corpse cultivator. How dare you call yourself a fairy? How can you be so thick-skinned? Lin Feng cursed. Are you trying to provoke me on purpose? Unfortunately, you can't do it. This fairy won't get angry. The female corpse looked at Lin Feng indifferently. She was very fast, and her aura was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng even felt that she was stronger than Shang Juji. Crescent slash. The female corpse attacked Lin Feng from more than 1,000 meters away. A beam of moonlight condensed and quickly slashed at Lin Feng. Holy shit! An attack released from so far away still has such power when it flies over? What a monster! After feeling the terrifying power of the moonlight, Lin Feng suddenly shouted in horror. Under normal circumstances, even if it was a peak holy emperor, from a distance of a few hundred meters, the power of a divine ability attack would basically dissipate. However, the female corpse's attack from more than 1,000 meters away was still incomparably terrifying. It was too inconceivable. Lin Feng found that his intuition was really good. The female corpse, much stronger than Shang Juji. The situation was not good. Lin Feng quickly activated the ruler's armor. The ruler's armor protected Lin Feng. At this moment, the moonlight condensed by the female corpse slashed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was blown away by the attack. Cough, cough, cough. Lin Feng coughed violently. He found that he had coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. Lin Feng wanted to cry but had no tears. The female corpse must have the battle strength of an emperor. However, perhaps it was because the female corpse had just woken up. Therefore, she had not been able to skillfully use the power she controlled. It was hard to imagine. How powerful was the female corpse when she was alive? This armor. Why does it give me a feeling of déjà vu? Where did you get it? When the female corpse saw the ruler's armor on Lin Feng's body, she suddenly showed a puzzled expression. Then she asked aloud. The ruler's armor was a supreme treasure forged by a supreme existence in the wasteland. It had been passed down from generation to generation. In the end, it fell into Lin Feng's hands. The female corpse. She actually had a feeling of déjà vu about the ruler's armor. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Could it be? Was the female corpse a powerhouse in the wasteland? If you don't chase me anymore, I will tell you the origin of this armor. Lin Feng said, if I catch you, I will search your soul. You can also know everything I want to know. The female corpse said coldly, you win. Lin Feng's expression was gloomy as he sped up again. However, it was still almost impossible to get rid of the female corpse. The distance between Lin Feng and the female corpse was getting closer and closer, and the female corpse would condense a powerful attack every once in a while. She attacked Lin Feng. Lin Feng could only choose to take the female corpse's attack head-on every time. He didn't dare to stop and fight with the female corpse. If he were to be entangled by an emperor-level existence, he would definitely die. If it weren't for the ruler's armor's powerful defense, Lin Feng's powerful body, and the immortal body's recovery ability, Lin Feng had already died countless times in the hands of the female corpse. The situation was getting worse and worse. Lin Feng's expression was also getting gloomier and gloomier. If this goes on, sooner or later, he would die in the hands of the female corpse. 15 minutes later, Lin Feng saw a temple appear in the desert. In the darkness, a faint divine light surged out of the temple. Lin Feng's spirit was suddenly lifted. He quickly flew towards the temple. When he got close to the temple, Lin Feng found that the temple was already very dilapidated. But there was still divinity emanating from the temple. Lin Feng rushed into the temple. The female corpse tried to enter the temple, but the temple vibrated with a divine sound of heaven and earth. The female corpse was forced back. A dilapidated temple. You want to stop this goddess? The female corpse floated in the air, coldly looking down at the dilapidated temple below. Although her words were full of disdain for the dilapidated temple, but in reality, Chapter 3694. Lin Feng stood in the courtyard and looked at a statue inside the temple. It was a statue carved out of stone, but now only half of it was left. The other half was nowhere to be seen. Lin Feng entered the temple. He found that the marks on the statue were very smooth. The statue seemed to have been split in half from the middle by a peerless weapon. This was an unknown existence, not a human. A lion's body and a human face. Although only half of the statue was left, it still gave off a faint divine glow. The divinity was immortal after billions of years. It was truly inconceivable. This is a temple from the era of titled gods. This should be a titled god. The demon lord said. Lin Feng was shocked. A titled god was powerful, immortal, ancient, and mysterious. In the past, they were high above, ruling over the heavens. Now, countless years had passed. The titled gods had long since disappeared. But there were still rumors about titled gods. A lion's body and a human face. Does the demon lord know the origin of this titled god? Lin Feng asked. The demon lord said, I don't know. There are only a lot of titled gods, and many of them are abnormally powerful, and their origins are extremely mysterious. It's hard to find out their secrets. Lin Feng said. The female corpse was so powerful, but she was still blocked outside the temple. It should have something to do with this statue. Indeed, although this statue is broken, it still has divinity flowing through it. That's why the female corpse couldn't enter the temple. The demon lord said. Outside, the female corpse looked at the entire temple with an indifferent expression. She sneered and said, Soon you will know that hiding in the temple is useless. As soon as she said that, the female corpse took out a flute. It was a bone flute. It was unknown what kind of bone it was made of. The female corpse blew the bone flute. The sound of the flute could be heard. Crack, crack. Then, many places in the desert world cracked open. Terrifying existences crawled out from the cracks one after another. They were ferocious beasts. They lived under the desert. Normally, they would not appear. They would only appear when they were summoned. The female corpse's flute could summon those ferocious beasts. These ferocious beasts were covered in scales, and their limbs were relatively thick. From their appearance, they looked like a branch of the wolf clan. But it wasn't the wolf clan. Those ferocious beasts were called the subterranean fiend clan. It was a ferocious beast that lived in the depths of the desert. During the day, they would hide in the desert. They would only come out at night to look for food. This was a type of ferocious beast that lived in groups. It was exceptionally ferocious and terrifying. Once they moved out, they would usually move in groups. Right now, the female corpse had summoned the underground demon beast. She wanted to use the underground evil beasts to destroy the temple. Roar! A deep roar resounded through the desert world. A large number of underground demons rushed towards the lone temple from all directions. If one were to look down from the sky, one could see that the underground devil beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth surrounded the temple. The earth was shaking violently. Lin Feng was startled. He gazed into the distance and saw an endless number of demonic beasts. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. Charge! The female corpse gave the order to attack. Hordes of underground devil beasts quickly pounced on them. Kill? Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. It was a moment of life and death. He had to resist the attack of the underground demons. Otherwise, the situation would be extremely dangerous. Lin Feng displayed endless domineering aura. The subterranean devil beasts that were charging from all directions were shrouded. Bang! 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 The sound of bodies exploding came one after another. One by one, the hell demons were killed by Lin Feng's endless domineering aura. A large number of hell demon corpses were piled up. They piled up into mountains one after another. This was a tug of war. Under this kind of consumption, Lin Feng's magic power was consumed extremely quickly. It lasted about 4 hours. Lin Feng's magic power had been exhausted. For Lin Feng, the situation was extremely bad. If the underground demons attacked a few more times, he was afraid that he would not be able to resist. When the time came, the underground demons would be able to rush into the temple. The female corpse obviously knew that Lin Feng's situation at this moment was very bad. A cold curve appeared at the corner of her mouth. In her opinion, Lin Feng this time, he would definitely die. But just at this moment, the female corpse looked into the distance. Her eyes twitched violently. The female corpse seemed to have sensed that something was rushing here quickly. And that thing, it made the female corpse tremble with fear. Therefore, the female corpse did not dare to stay and directly rushed into the distance. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared. The female corpse left. Lin Feng was surprised. He did not understand why the female corpse chose to leave at this time. Soon after, Lin Feng knew the reason. In the distance, the blood cloud surged. A large blood cloud almost pressed down from the void. No one knew what terrifying thing was in the blood cloud. Wherever it passed, all of the underground demons died in an instant. Then they were swallowed by the blood cloud. Roar! The remaining hell demons screamed in horror and hurriedly drilled into the ground. But in the end, only a few underground demons drilled into the ground and escaped. Most of the underground demons did not manage to escape. They were all swallowed by the blood cloud. Even the corpses of the demonic beasts Lin Feng had killed before were there. They were also swallowed by the blood cloud. The blood cloud was not picky at all. As long as it had flesh and blood and spirit, it swallowed them all. It swallowed as much as there was. Heaven and earth became completely silent. In addition to the dilapidated temple, there was the blood cloud above the temple. The blood cloud had no intention of dissipating. Lin Feng did not know what was in the blood cloud. However, he vaguely felt that in the blood cloud, there must be an unimaginable existence, or else it would not scare the female corpse away. Huff, huff, huff. At this moment, a powerful devouring force surged out of the blood cloud. The powerful devouring force poured down directly. It wanted to devour the entire temple. Creak, creak. The temple began to shake. The temple was already dilapidated. How could it withstand the devouring of the blood cloud? The temple began to dismember. Many tiles, wood, separated walls, and other things flew toward the blood cloud. Then they were swallowed by the blood cloud. Damn! Is this guy so abnormal? Is there anything that this guy doesn't swallow? Lin Feng's face was very ugly. The blood cloud was too terrifying. It could swallow everything. The temple was about to fall into pieces. When the time came, even he would be swallowed by the blood cloud. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Chapter 3695. Quick, carry that statue, the demon lord said. Lin Feng didn't know why the demon lord wanted him to carry that statue. But Lin Feng didn't hesitate and went in front of the statue. Then, he tried to carry the statue on his body. But what shocked Lin Feng was that the statue didn't move. It's so heavy. Lin Feng's face showed an expression of disbelief. The demon lord said, "Heavy is right." In the era of the titled gods, the statues were the incarnations of the gods. The titled gods of that era could sense every statue, and with a thought, they could descend on any statue. Therefore, during that era, miracles were often shown, and the statues of that era were also called the incarnations of the gods. Statues can't be touched. If you touch the statue, it's equivalent to disrespecting the gods, and you'll be punished by the gods. Lin Feng was shocked and said, "This statue is so extraordinary, and it even has divinity. Am I blaspheming this god now? I won't be punished, right?" The demon lord said, "You don't have to worry about this at all, because this god is already dead. Now, only a part of its divinity hasn't completely disappeared, and it's still hidden in this stone statue. That's why I asked you to carry this statue. Since this statue can scare the female corpse so much that she doesn't dare to come forward, maybe it can scare the blood cloud away." Hearing that, Lin Feng nodded. He activated the dragon elephant arm and grabbed the statue again. When the dragon elephant arm was activated, Lin Feng was finally able to carry the statue. Finally, the statue was carried on Lin Feng's back, and at this time, the whole temple was completely shattered. All the broken walls were swallowed by the blood cloud. Only Lin Feng wasn't swallowed by the blood cloud. That dilapidated statue was truly extraordinary. Lin Feng carried the statue on his back and dissolved the blood cloud, swallowing. "Ha ha ha, this statue is awesome." Lin Feng suddenly laughed. The blood cloud began to twist violently. A large amount of blood clouds descended from the sky, enveloping Lin Feng. He wanted to drag Lin Feng into the blood cloud. When the blood cloud descended, a bone-chilling aura engulfed him. Lin Feng felt the aura of death enveloping him. The blood clouds were too terrifying. There was simply no way to resist. But at this moment, divine light surged out from the statue on Lin Feng's back. A powerful creature appeared in the divine light. That living being, Sphinx, standing in the void, he roared at the blood cloud. The blood cloud quickly retreated and hovered in midair. It did not continue to devour Lin Feng. This statue is really extraordinary. Even Shui Yun is intimidated and doesn't dare approach it. Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. In the distance, endless darkness engulfed the world. Even the last ray of light between heaven and earth was swallowed by the darkness. When he saw the darkness in the distance, Lin Feng's expression changed greatly. Wasn't this the dark erosion? The dark erosion had appeared in the swamp of destiny. It was incomparably terrifying. Anyone who was shrouded in the darkness would die without a burial place. Originally, Lin Feng thought that the dark erosion would only appear in the swamp of destiny. But who would have thought the dark erosion would actually appear outside the swamp of destiny? What is going on? Why would the dark erosion appear here? Could it be that the dark erosion does not only appear in the swamp of destiny? Lin Feng muttered to himself. Lin Feng was very clear about the terror of the dark erosion. The blood cloud had not left yet. The dark erosion had already arrived. Where had he come to? That old Taoist. Did he deliberately lead him here? Lin Feng rubbed his teeth. He was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. He had originally relied on the brocade bag left behind by the old Taoist to escape. He was very grateful to the old Taoist. Who would have thought? The other side of the golden door was actually such a place more dangerous than the swamp of death. Lin Feng had been here for many days, but he did not even know where this place was. The aura of death was everywhere. It was a boundless desert, a barren mountain range. It was as if he had arrived in hell. The dark erosion had arrived. Lin Feng could not help but feel extremely nervous. Back when they were in the swamp of destiny, they had to enter the mountains to avoid being devoured by the darkness corrosion. In the end, they were lucky enough to survive. But there were no mountains here that could resist the dark erosion. What a terrible place. Roar. The Sphinx creature that appeared from the statue let out a low roar. His roar seemed to be extremely effective. It actually startled the dark erosion to stop. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng was so excited that he almost burst into tears. The dark erosion had arrived. It was really too dangerous. Fortunately, this statue was extremely extraordinary. "Leave this place," the demon lord said with a serious expression. This place made him feel very uneasy. It was not just the blood clouds and dark erosion. The demon lord felt that there might be other terrifying existences. Lin Feng nodded. He naturally did not want to stay here any longer. although the statue temporarily deterred the blood clouds and dark erosion. However, the blood clouds and dark erosion did not leave. This meant that the statue was not enough to scare them away. After all, the statue Lin Feng was carrying was only a broken statue. The path was incomplete. It was destined that it would be difficult to scare away the blood clouds and dark erosion. The most important thing was to leave this place as soon as possible. If he could cross the desert, perhaps he could escape the blood clouds and dark erosion. But the prerequisite was that before leaving the desert, the blood clouds and dark erosion could not break through the statue's defense. The statue was very heavy. With every step Lin Feng took, a deep pit would appear on the ground. Lin Feng's speed was not fast. No one would be able to increase their speed while carrying such a statue. Not long after, a gloomy and terrifying aura surged from the depths of the desert. A tall figure suddenly stood up. Lin Feng looked at that gigantic silhouette. That silhouette looked as gigantic as a mountain. What the hell? What the hell is this? Lin Feng's hair stood on end as he looked at the terrifying existence in the depths of the desert. His body was too huge, wasn't it? Walala, walala. That terrifying existence walked towards Lin Feng step by step. Moreover, he was dragging a chain in his hand. The sound of the chain colliding could be heard. Even though they were far away, Lin Feng could still hear it very clearly. Could it be that I will die here? Lin Feng's face was extremely ugly. The blood clouds and dark erosion had not left. In the depths of the desert, the unknown terrifying creature that was dragging the chain was also walking towards him. Chapter 3696. Today's situation was extremely dangerous. Lin Feng wanted to find a way to escape, but he didn't have any clue. He wanted to escape. It was too difficult. The blood cloud, the dark erosion, and the huge and unknown terrifying creature. These three existences were divided into three directions. They completely surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng sped up. He wanted to break out of the encirclement of the three terrifying creatures. However, Lin Feng realized the three terrifying auras locked onto him. He couldn't escape. He couldn't escape. He had to face the three terrifying existences head-on. Soon, the huge terrifying creature came to Lin Feng's side. His body was simply too intimidating. No matter who it was, they would never be able to face such a being. All of them would feel a sense of horror in their hearts. Clatter. The sound of chains colliding could be heard. The huge chain. It directly whipped towards Lin Feng. Danger. Danger. Lin Feng felt the aura of death enveloping his body. At the same time, the blood cloud and the dark erosion also rushed towards Lin Feng. Buzz. At the critical moment, in the statue, a large amount of divine light gushed out. Every ray of divine light. They all formed a halo. The halos overlapped one another. A total of 99 halos appeared. These halos formed by the divine light protected Lin Feng. The chains in the hands of the gigantic and unknown creature lashed out at the rings of light. A series of violent collisions could be heard. The power of the chain was very strong, but it didn't destroy the halos formed by the divine light. And the attacks of the blood cloud and the dark erosion also bombarded the energy halos at the same time. The attacks of the blood cloud and the dark erosion were also blocked by the energy halos. The defensive power formed by the statue was unusually strong. It made Lin Feng extremely shocked. But even so, Lin Feng's face was still extremely solemn. Because the attack of the huge and unknown terrifying creature, the blood cloud, and the dark erosion were just the beginning. After a few consecutive attacks, it was hard to say whether the defense formed by the divine statue could withstand the attack of the gigantic and unknown creature, the blood cloud, and the dark corrosion. Lin Feng still hadn't given up on finding a way to escape, even if the chances of finding a way to escape seemed so slim. However, Lin Feng was never a person who gave up easily. However, what made Lin Feng extremely depressed was that no matter how hard he racked his brains, he was still unable to come up with a solution. He was also unable to find a way to escape. Under the continuous attacks of the gigantic and unknown creature, the blood cloud, and the dark corrosion, the defense formed by the statue of the god, it began to crumble. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's face suddenly turned ugly. It was just as he had guessed. The divine statue was unable to withstand the continuous attacks of the gigantic and unknown terrifying creature, the blood cloud, and the dark corrosion. The current situation. For Lin Feng, it was extremely bad. Lin Feng thought of something. Perhaps it could be used, but he did not know if that thing would be of any use. Crack, crack. The divine statue on Lin Feng's back also began to crumble. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng's face became more and more ugly. It wouldn't take long. The divine statue would be completely destroyed. At that time, he would be in danger. It seemed that he had to use that thing, and he had to use it before the divine statue was destroyed. The probability of success might be higher. The thing that Lin Feng planned to use was not any other treasure. It was the Stone of Destiny that Lin Feng's senior sister Shui Linglong gave him before leaving the 9 regions. However, facing the attack of the gigantic and unknown terrifying creature, the blood cloud, and the dark corrosion, Lin Feng knew that this Stone of Destiny would most likely be suppressed. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's guess. Lin Feng naturally hoped that when he used the Stone of Destiny, there would be a good result. Just as Lin Feng was about to use the Stone of Destiny, suddenly, the desert under Lin Feng's feet collapsed. Lin Feng fell into the desert. Let's go. Before Lin Feng came back to his senses, he heard a familiar voice. A figure appeared not far away from Lin Feng. It was the cursed doll. When Lin Feng saw the cursed doll, he could not help but be shocked. He did not expect to see the cursed doll here. Lin Feng had not seen this guy for many years. Lin Feng did not have time to ask why the cursed doll appeared here. He quickly joined up with the cursed doll. Then they drilled into the ground together. But at this moment, a sinister and terrifying aura came from above. The dark corrosion quickly rushed into the ground. The blood cloud also surged in. At the same time, the desert above began to split open. A huge desert abyss appeared. The gigantic and unknown terrifying creature split the desert into a desert abyss with one palm. Lin Feng and the cursed doll were exposed. The dark corrosion quickly enveloped Lin Feng and the cursed doll. The blood cloud vibrated with endless blood light and attacked Lin Feng and the cursed doll. The terrifying chain controlled by the gigantic and unknown terrifying creature flew out like a chain dragon. Then, it wrapped around Lin Feng and the cursed doll. Looks like Sir System has no choice but to use his ultimate move. The cursed doll began to wail loudly. The cursed doll's hands kept forming seals. Dense runes appeared. Every rune was mysterious and contained a powerful force. Those runes turned into cursed dolls. Those cursed dolls were everywhere. There were countless of them. They wrapped Lin Feng and the cursed doll in them. When the gigantic and terrifying creature, the blood cloud, and the dark corrosion attack bombarded the densely packed cursed dolls. The densely packed cursed dolls began to explode. The energy of the cursed doll's self-destruction dissipated. Lin Feng and the cursed doll disappeared without a trace. Swoosh! 100 miles away. With a flash of light, Lin Feng and the cursed doll fell from midair. They fell directly into the desert. The two of them climbed up from the desert. The cursed doll shouted, "Go, go, go. Let's leave this place quickly. If we're slow, those guys will catch up." Lin Feng said with a gloomy expression, "If we don't know the way out, we're destined to be trapped here until we die. Follow me, I know." The cursed doll chose a direction and quickly flew in that direction. Lin Feng followed behind the cursed doll. A day later, Lin Feng finally saw some sparse trees. After seeing those trees, Lin Feng's face revealed a smile. Chapter 3697. Lin Feng and the cursed doll walked out of the strange desert. Plop, plop. They fell to the ground. They could finally heave a sigh of relief. "What are you doing here?" Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and asked. "I accidentally barged in," the cursed doll said. Lin Feng felt that the cursed doll was not telling the truth. However, since this fellow was unwilling to tell the truth, of course, Lin Feng wouldn't expose him. Moreover, that was just Lin Feng's suspicion. Perhaps the cursed doll was telling the truth? Lin Feng asked, "Do you know where this desert is?" "This is Bitter Cold State's endless ghost sand," The cursed doll said. What? It's actually this place. Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. Although he had not been in the heavenly sage great world for long, Lin Feng had heard of Bitter Cold State's endless ghost sand. Bitter Cold State. It was the state with the worst conditions in the heavenly sage great world. Rumor had it that this state was enveloped by the power of a curse. Therefore, very few cultivators were willing to come to this state. The people who came here, most of them were people who were chased by their enemies and had nowhere else to go. They came to Bitter Cold State to seek refuge. Although these people who sought refuge had formed towns and had descendants, however, the number of people here could not be compared to the other states. As for Bitter Cold State's endless ghost sand, it was even more famous. Rumor had it that it was an extremely dangerous place. It was called the Land of Death. It was not an exaggeration at all. Since ancient times, who knew how many experts had mistakenly entered the endless ghost sand? In the end, they died in the endless ghost sand. Rumor has it that every few years, something terrifying will happen in the endless ghost sand. The creatures inside will walk out of the endless ghost sand. I wonder if the rumor is true? Lin Feng looked at the cursed doll and asked. The rumor is true. Calculating the time, the terrifying creatures in the endless ghost sand might be able to walk out soon, the cursed doll said. Lin Feng's heart trembled. This was simply too shocking. If those terrifying creatures walked out of the endless ghost sand, they would be able to do so. It was hard to imagine what kind of terrifying massacre it would cause. The corrosion of darkness, the blood clouds, and that enormous, unknown, terrifying creature that had appeared later on. Of course, amidst the endless ghost sand, it was very likely that they had some other terrifying existences. Once they walked out, everywhere they went, there would be a rain of blood. Lin Feng sat up from the ground. Right now, they were still relatively close to the endless ghost sand. Lin Feng felt uneasy and wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Because this place gave Lin Feng a terrible feeling. Lin Feng stood up and said, Let's go. Let's see if there's a town where we can settle down. The cursed doll nodded and left with Lin Feng. 10 days later, Lin Feng and the cursed doll saw a small town. This was the town closest to the endless ghost sand. The town wasn't very big, and there weren't many people. Most of the residents in the small town had a lifeless look on their faces. Perhaps the people living in the Bitter Cold State were like this. They were always frowning and had lost hope in life. Of course, not everyone was like this. There were also some people. They were still full of hope. They were working hard to fight for life. The cursed doll was sitting on Lin Feng's shoulder. It looked like a little puppet. Almost no one noticed him. This guy was very good at disguising himself. And Lin Feng, a young human, came to a small town in the Bitter Cold State. Naturally, he attracted the attention of many people. Many people's eyes flickered with a cold light. Every place. It was filled with violence, cold-bloodedness, darkness, ruthlessness, and killing. The Bitter Cold State was naturally the same. Perhaps, the Bitter Cold State was even more cruel than other places, because there were too few resources here. In order to obtain cultivation resources, cultivators had to do everything they could, and killing people to snatch treasures. That was the most straightforward method. Young master, you look unfamiliar. Is this your first time in our Bitter Cold State? A middle-aged cultivator rushed out from the street and looked at Lin Feng with a smile. This was a middle-aged cultivator who looked somewhat thin and small. His eyes were always narrowed, and from time to time, they would reveal a sharp light. He looked like a very shrewd person. Lin Feng nodded and said, Indeed, it's my first time here. Young master, you've met the right person to meet me, Gue Jianqiu. For the first time in the Bitter Cold State. The middle-aged cultivator grinned and said, Gue Jianqiu? Lin Feng could not help but raise his eyebrows. This name was so strange. The middle-aged cultivator said, As the saying goes, even ghosts have to worry when they see me. That's where my name comes from. The Bitter Cold State is a demonic place. You can't go out at night. It's extremely terrifying. Lin Feng said, I haven't felt it yet. Previously, Lin Feng had only experienced many dangers at night in the endless ghost sand. After walking out of the endless ghost sand, it was relatively safer. although he had encountered some powerful, ferocious beasts on the way. However, they were far from being comparable to the terrifying creatures in the endless ghost sand. Gue Jiancho said, "This is because the thing in the endless ghost sand is about to come out. Therefore, during this period of time, the bitter cold state is relatively safer. However, as the saying goes, the calm before the storm is the most peaceful. Therefore, a peerless terror will arrive soon. Look at those people's worried faces. You can tell how dangerous the thing in the endless ghost sand will be when it comes out." Lin Feng did not need to look at the expressions of the others to know how terrifying the thing in the endless ghost sand was. If it came out, who knew how many people would die? No one would not be worried. "I have an evil warding talisman here that can scare away those terrifying existences. Young master, do you want to buy some?" Gue Jiancho continued. He began to sell his things to Lin Feng. Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. After all this time, this guy was actually a salesman. The creatures in the endless ghost sand were so terrifying, not to mention jade talismans. Even the most top-grade magic treasures. They could not contend against those terrifying existences. Therefore, Lin Feng did not believe in the evil warding talisman that Gue Jiancho was selling. "Not interested," Lin Feng said indifferently. "If you are not interested in the evil warding talisman, I have a peerless ability here. I wonder if young master is interested?" Gue Jiancho said, "Peerless ability? What ability?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. Gue Jiancho lowered his voice and said, "Rumor has it that this is an ability that transcends epochs." "An ability that transcends epochs? You have such an ability for sale?" Lin Feng looked at Gue Jiancho in shock. Chapter 3698. Gue Jiancho spoke as if it was true, making it easy for others to believe his words. However, Lin Feng felt that Gue Jiancho was not very reliable. Of course, maybe what Demon's Grimace said was true. Perhaps this divine ability was really brought out by Gue Jiancho from the endless ghost sand? Lin Feng asked, "What divine ability is this?" Gue Jiancho continued to speak in a low voice. "This divine ability is called Immortal King Shattering the Nine Heavens. It is definitely a peerless divine ability." Immortal King Shattering the Nine Heavens? Lin Feng was very shocked, because the name of this divine ability could easily cause one to fall into endless imagination. The Immortal King was high and mighty, and the Nine Heavens was an ethereal saying. It referred to the supreme heavenly Tao. Therefore, the meaning of Immortal King Shattering the Nine Heavens was very thought-provoking. If there was really such a divine ability, this was definitely an extremely heaven-defying divine ability. "Take it out and let me see," Lin Feng said. "My rule has always been to pay first, then give the item." Gue Jiancho said. Lin Feng frowned. He suddenly felt that Gue Jiancho was more and more like a swindler. "How much?" Lin Feng asked. 1,000 immortal stones. Gue Jiancho said. This was an extremely high price. It was not a price that ordinary cultivators could afford. However, Lin Feng still planned to buy this divine ability. If this divine ability was real, 1,000 immortal stones would be a huge profit. If this divine ability was fake, then it was fine. 1,000 immortal stones was just an insult to Lin Feng. It was nothing. He flicked his finger, and a ball of divine light flew out. The divine light wrapped around 1,000 immortal stones. Lin Feng said, "The immortal stones are inside. Give me the divine ability." Gue Jiancho hurriedly kept the immortal stones, and his face was like a blooming flower. He took out a jade tube and handed it to Lin Feng. Then he said, "Young master, I see that you are a cultivation genius. You will definitely be able to cultivate Immortal King, shattering the nine heavens to an unfathomable realm." After saying that, this guy ran away like a wisp of smoke. Lin Feng put away the jade tube and walked towards an inn. When the shopkeeper saw Lin Feng enter, he shook his head and said, "I believe that Gue Jiancho must have promoted the Immortal King breaking the nine heavens divine ability to young master, right?" "That's right." Lin Feng nodded. He then asked in surprise, "How did you know?" The shopkeeper said, "That guy cheated a lot of people. What Immortal King breaking through the nine heavens? This divine ability has a huge flaw. It can't be practiced. Otherwise, your meridians will reverse and you will die suddenly. Now, Gue Jianqiu can only deceive new cultivators. But young master, don't even think about finding trouble with Gue Jianqiu. Although this guy is a bastard, his cultivation is still very strong. Young master, you are new here and unfamiliar with this place. There is no need to offend Gue Jianqiu. Lin Feng smiled and said, I already guessed that this divine ability might be fake. The shopkeeper was puzzled and asked, since young master guessed that it's fake, why are you still wasting your money? Lin Feng said, but what if it's real? Also, according to what you said, this divine ability should only be incomplete. It doesn't mean that it's fake. It still has research value. The shopkeeper shook his head and didn't say anything else. Lin Feng booked a guest room. The waiter brought Lin Feng to the guest room. Young master, if you need anything, just let me know. Young master, you are new here, so it's best if you don't walk around outside. Falling Dragon Town isn't peaceful. The waiter reminded him. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. The waiter then left. After closing the door, Lin Feng sat on a stool placed in front of a table and sent his divine sense into the jade tube. Suddenly, Lin Feng had the impression he was looking at a mysterious world. In that world, there was a man in snow-white clothes. He looked like an immortal. He soared into the sky. He directly shattered the vast 9 heavens. Then, all the images disappeared. Lin Feng's heart trembled. The images just now. Was this the immortal king breaking through the 9 heavens? His divine sense returned to reality. Lin Feng memorized the cultivation technique recorded in the jade tube. He frowned slightly. These cultivation techniques were indeed incomplete. Every once in a while, some parts were missing, and it was impossible to connect these cultivation techniques together. The divine ability was incomplete. It couldn't be cultivated. Forcefully cultivating. It would be like what the shopkeeper said. In the end, he would die a tragic death. The cursed doll asked, how is this divine ability? There are many flaws, but if it can be perfected, it will definitely be a heaven-defying divine ability. Lin Feng said. The cursed doll laughed strangely and said, actually, there are many good things in the endless ghost sand. However, after the cursed doll said that, it didn't continue. What are the good things? Lin Feng asked. Previously, Lin Feng felt that the cursed doll's appearance in the endless ghost sand was not a coincidence. The cursed doll. It was very likely that it had entered the endless ghost sand to search for something. However, Lin Feng didn't have any evidence to prove this point. However, the cursed doll's words just now made Lin Feng even more certain of his judgment. The cursed doll laughed and said, Aya, I can finally see the bed. I can have a good rest now. This fellow deliberately avoided Lin Feng's topic and then flew to the bed, directly falling asleep on the bed. Lin Feng used a powerful restriction. Then, he sealed the room. He planned to enter the space of time and then check what was in the 7th palace of the Chonglu Demon Palace. At the same time, Lin Feng wanted to see if the evil corpse ring could be opened. The thing in the evil corpse ring, it kept attracting Lin Feng's attention. This made Lin Feng extremely curious. He felt that, the thing in the evil corpse ring, it would definitely shock the world. But unfortunately, evil corpse ring, Lin Feng had been unable to open it. Now that Lin Feng had become an emperor, it was no longer the same as before. Lin Feng felt that perhaps he could open the evil corpse ring. Shua. With a flash of light, Lin Feng entered the space of time. Lin Feng's space of time was rather special. It was stored in Lin Feng's acupoints, but it was connected to the void. When Lin Feng entered the space of time would be hidden in the void, making it difficult for outsiders to find it. After entering the space of time, Lin Feng took out the Chonglu Demon Palace. With a thought, he appeared on the 6th floor of the Chonglu Demon Palace. Black Bear Sage, come and see me quickly, Lin Feng said. With a flash of light, the Black Bear Sage appeared. The Black Bear Sage cupped his fists towards Lin Feng and bowed. Greetings, Master. Congratulations, Master, on breaking through to the Emperor realm. Chapter 3699. Yes, Master. After receiving Lin Feng's order, the Black Bear Sage hurriedly responded. Next, The black bear sage wrapped around Lin Feng. They disappeared from the 6th level space. The next moment, they appeared. They arrived at the 7th level space. Every layer of space had a restriction on it. To enter, one had to rely on the black bear sage to pass through the restrictions. Of course, Lin Feng only needed to enter once. In the future, these restrictions wouldn't obstruct Lin Feng's path. Amitabha, Amitabha, the sea of bitterness is boundless. Repent, and you will be saved. Convert to Buddha, and you will become a Buddha. Lin Feng had just arrived at the 7th level space. A series of earth-shaking noises could be heard. These voices contained the endless aura of the Great Path. It was so loud that even the deaf could hear it. It directly touched one's heart. In an instant, Lin Feng felt that his mind was greatly affected. A powerful force had invaded his soul and was trying to enslave his soul. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. This was the power of purification. Lin Feng was very familiar with the power of purification produced by the Great Purification Technique. This was because Lin Feng himself had cultivated the Great Purification Technique. This was definitely a heaven-defying technique. It could purify others. It could make the other party completely lost. It could make the other party become his slave. Lin Feng didn't expect that he had just entered the 7th level space of the Chonglu Demon Palace. He was almost purified by the power of purification of the Great Purification Technique. Luckily, his soul was strong enough. Otherwise, he would have been purified just now. Lin Feng hurriedly activated the Great Purification Technique. Lin Feng's body also produced the power of purification. The power of purification. All of it surged into Lin Feng's mind. It collided with the power of purification in his mind that wanted to purify him. Next, the two types of power of purification dissipated. Lin Feng woke up. He saw that there was a skeleton sitting cross-legged in the 7th space. It was a skeleton. It was a golden skeleton. The surface of the skeleton was covered with runes. The skeleton was also wearing a kasaya. That kasaya, shrouded in holy light, it was obviously an extraordinary Buddhist treasure. Is this the skeleton of a Buddhist monk? Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal an extremely shocked expression. He had guessed it before. What exactly was in the 7th space of the Chonglu Devil Palace? But no one could figure it out. It turned out to be the skeleton of an eminent Buddhist monk. Moreover, this eminent Buddhist monk was wearing a supreme treasure, a kasaya. That kasaya treasure was definitely a Buddhist treasure. It could ward off evil. At the critical moment, perhaps it would be of great use. Do you know who this Buddhist monk is? Lin Feng asked the black bear sage. The black bear sage said, I heard that it is related to the Buddha of the past. Is it related to the Buddha of the past? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. In the beginning of Buddhism, the 7 ancient Buddhas were in charge of Buddhism. After the 7 ancient Buddhas, they were the past, present, and future Buddhas who ruled Buddhism. The Buddha of the past was the Dipankara Buddha. The Buddha of the present was Shakyamuni Buddha. The Buddha of the future was Maitreya Buddha. Among the 3 Buddhas, the Buddha of the present was Shakyamuni Buddha. However, Lin Feng had more or less heard some rumors about Buddhism. It was said that Buddhism was like other factions. There was also a lot of conflict. The Buddhas of the past, present, and future led many monks. They were divided into 3 factions. On the surface, they might be amiable, but in secret, they were also fighting fiercely. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't sure if the legends were true. However, this ancient Buddha was related to the Buddha of the past. It was obvious how extraordinary it was. Lin Feng asked, Do you know what the relationship is? The black bear sage said, I'm not sure. Lin Feng nodded and flew out of the 7th space. Then, he summoned the broken statue in front of him. Back then, in the endless ghost sand, he had relied on this broken statue. Lin Feng blocked the attack of the huge and terrifying creature, the blood cloud, and the dark erosion. Lin Feng was very grateful to this statue. Now, this statue was extremely broken. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little emotional. The statue was broken, and it would be difficult to recover. And Lin Feng was sharp enough to notice that. The trace of divine power that was originally contained in the statue, it had also disappeared. It seemed that the statue was about to be completely damaged. Crack, crack. Suddenly, the statue cracked. It turned into a pile of rubble. Lin Feng shook his head and sighed. The statue was broken. This was a titled god, the last divine power left in the world. It had also disappeared. I've also built many temples, and countless people worship me. However, I'm destined to be different from these titled gods. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Although he didn't know these titled gods very well, Lin Feng more or less had a certain understanding of the abilities of these titled gods. It was because he had some understanding. That was why he knew. He was different from these titled gods. For example, the titled gods could only do it through the statues in various temples. They could perform miracles. Lin Feng couldn't do that. Moreover, it was said that the power of faith gathered by believers in the era of titled gods could even form a godhead in the body of a titled god. In godhood, it could greatly increase a practitioner's combat power. But Lin Feng had so many believers. There was no godhood in his body. These were the differences between Lin Feng and these titled gods. Is it because I haven't mastered some special methods of these titled gods? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. The special methods he was talking about were special methods that allowed Lin Feng to perform miracles through the statues and let the believer's power of faith help him condense a godhood. The demon lord said, "Perhaps it has something to do with the investiture of the gods." Investiture of the gods? The investiture of the gods passed down by the Jiang family? Lin Feng couldn't help but say. Jiang Yudi's family was extremely ancient, and they had passed down the investiture of the gods, a supreme treasure. The ancestor of the Jiang family. The demon lord said, "Actually, the investiture of the gods passed down by the Jiang family isn't the real investiture of the gods. The history of the Jiang family didn't start from the primordial age. If you really want to trace it back, you should go back to the innate age. Every titled god is recorded in the investiture of the gods. If you don't enter the investiture of the gods, you won't be able to receive a title. Therefore, those titled gods who don't enter the investiture of the gods are all fake gods. They can't be considered real gods, but the investiture of the gods disappeared with the end of the innate age." Chapter 3700. Another investiture of the gods? How powerful is that investiture of the gods? Can it become a god? I heard that back then, the Jiang family even created the Copper Sparrow Pavilion to confer the gods. But these are all things from the ancient times, so I don't know the specifics. Lin Feng couldn't help but say, he thought of some things he had heard in the Sky Martial continent. The Vermilion Bird Pavilion of the Jiang family was still standing in the ancestral grounds of the Jiang family. It was just that, before the invasion of the myriad races, the Jiang family had already moved, and no one knew where they had gone. Lin Feng still had no news of the Jiang family. However, Lin Feng had heard some rumors. It was said that the cultivators of the Jiang family had gone to search for the sacred ground of the Jiang family in the Xiantian era. If he could find it, this clan might be able to restore their former glory. Of course, it was hard to say whether he could find it or not. In the past, the ancient investiture of the gods was created because of the right time, right place, and right people. Because of this, the investiture of the gods had a special meaning. Not only was it a powerful magic treasure, but it could also confer titles to gods. As for the matter of the Jiang family creating the investiture of the gods in the ancient times and conferring the gods again, it seems like a joke now. The power of the investiture of the gods that was created in the ancient times was indeed extraordinary, but it was unable to confer the gods. In the past, when the Copper Sparrow Pavilion conferred the gods, at most, those cultivators only received a portion of the luck and strength bonus, and their strength increased a little, but it did not have the effect of conferring the gods. The demon lord said. Lin Feng stroked his chin and said, although it did not have the effect of conferring the gods, it was already heaven-defying enough to be able to increase a cultivator's cultivation and obtain a large amount of luck. Back then, I had always wanted to see what the investiture of the gods looked like. Unfortunately, before I could go to the Jiang family to see the investiture of the gods, the Jiang family had already left the Sky Martial continent. It's fine if you don't look at the fake investiture of the gods. If you can find the real investiture of the gods and carve your name on it, you will be able to obtain endless benefits, the demon lord said. Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but feel slightly warm. He was indeed looking forward to seeing the true investiture of the gods and writing his name on it. But Lin Feng knew, for the time being, it was fine to just think about it. The true investiture of the gods had disappeared for countless years. It was unknown whether or not it had been destroyed. Perhaps the world would never see the real investiture of the gods again, right? Lin Feng calmed himself down and took out the evil corpse ring. The evil corpse ring emitted a cold and gloomy aura. This aura was extremely terrifying. Ordinary people simply could not withstand the sinister aura emitted from the evil corpse ring. If he held the evil corpse ring, it was very likely that he would be instantly frozen by it. Evil corpse ring, what secrets are you hiding? Today, let me break your restrictions and see all your secrets. Lin Feng muttered to himself. He began to break the restrictions on the evil corpse ring. Lin Feng had broken through to the Emperor realm for the Great Tao. As for formations, they all had a deeper understanding and understanding. Originally, Lin Feng faced the restriction of the evil corpse ring. He was at his wit's end. But this time, Lin Feng faced the evil corpse ring. It was a completely different situation. Originally, it was an incomparably profound restriction. Under Lin Feng's cracking, it began to gradually disintegrate. Lin Feng's face revealed a look of joy. The restriction of the evil corpse ring was being broken. Finally, he could finally explore what was inside the evil corpse ring and what secrets were hidden inside. Layer after layer of restrictions were opened by Lin Feng. Lin Feng opened a total of 36 restrictions. After breaking the 36 restrictions of the evil corpse ring, a series of low and deep roars came out from the inside of the evil corpse ring. Lin Feng's spiritual will sense the runes of 9 vicious beasts. These 9 vicious beasts were Sky-Splitting Ho, Scarlet Flame Golden Swanny Beast, Ice-Armored Horn Demon Dragon, 8-Clawed Fire Ho, 9-Winged Heavenly Dragon, Thunderbat Dragon, Blue-Winged Sea Dragon, Sea-Splitting Mysterious Dragon Whale, and Kuei Cow. Every single one of the vicious beasts was terrifying, and their auras were shocking. Lin Feng frowned. The runes of the 9 vicious beasts should be the final restriction of the evil corpse ring. As long as he could open it, he would be able to check the space inside the evil corpse ring. Lin Feng tried to break the runes of the 9 vicious beasts. However, something terrible happened. The 9 vicious beasts formed from the runes of the 9 vicious beasts attacked and instantly destroyed Lin Feng's spiritual will. Then, the 9 vicious beasts formed from the runes of the 9 vicious beasts actually wanted to rush into Lin Feng's mind and destroy Lin Feng's soul. Lin Feng was shocked. He quickly and forcefully cut off the connection with the runes of the 9 vicious beasts. Only then did he get rid of the attack of the runes of the 9 vicious beasts. What a terrifying rune of the 9 vicious beasts. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. The power of the runes of the 9 vicious beasts shocked Lin Feng. It seems that I still need to wait for a while. The runes of the 9 vicious beasts are not easy to deal with, but fortunately, the matter of cracking the evil corpse ring has also reached the final step. Destroying the runes of the 9 vicious beasts, the secret of the evil corpse ring will appear in front of my eyes. Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a smile on his face. He kept the evil corpse ring. Then, he flew out from the time and space. Lin Feng returned to his room and discovered that the cursed doll was gone. This guy didn't leave any message, so he didn't know where he went. The cursed doll should be looking for something, but what is he looking for? It's so mysterious and sneaky. It seems that the thing he's looking for must be extremely heaven-defying. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Everyone had their own life to live. Lin Feng wouldn't interfere with other people's lives. Afternoon, Lin Feng walked out of the inn. He planned to inquire about some information regarding the Bitter Han State. Because, for the Bitter Han State, Lin Feng really lacked understanding. Lin Feng saw a bookstore, but there were no customers here. There was no business. Lin Feng entered the bookstore. Inside the bookstore, it was very dark and gave off an extremely oppressive feeling. Is there no one? Lin Feng asked. He discovered There was no one in the bookstore. Cough, 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 cough. At this moment, a violent coughing sound came from behind a bookshelf. An old man walked out from behind the bookshelf. This old man, his body was bent. His entire body was dry. It was as if there was only skin and bones left on his body. And this old man's eye sockets were sunken. A green light flickered in his eyes. It was as if he was a malicious spirit that had crawled out of hell. His appearance was too frightening. When Lin Feng saw this old man, he couldn't help but be shocked. He finally knew why there weren't any customers in this bookstore. Chapter 37:01. So you're here to buy something? The old man looked at Lin Feng with a sinister gaze. He sized up Lin Feng from head to toe. It was as if he was sizing up an exquisite piece of art. Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly when he sensed the old man's sinister gaze. Why is this old man's gaze so meaningful? Is he plotting something against me? If this old man dared to plot against me, I don't mind tearing down his store. Lin Feng said calmly, I want to buy some books about Bitter Cold Prefecture. The old man did not immediately hand the books over to Lin Feng. Instead, he asked, Did you just arrive at Bitter Cold Prefecture? Yes. Lin Feng nodded. There are very few humans in Heavenly Sage Great World, especially in a place like Bitter Cold Prefecture. What a coincidence. I'm also a human. You're the first human cultivator I've seen since I arrived at Bitter Cold Prefecture. Don't you think we're fated? The old man said with a smile. Lin Feng could not help but slander him inwardly. What kind of fate was this? Lin Feng increasingly felt that this old man was plotting something against him. Of course, Lin Feng would not voice his thoughts out loud. As the saying went, one should not hit a smiling person. Lin Feng naturally understood this principle. He smiled and said, Indeed, we're fated to meet. This junior is Lin Feng. How should I address you, senior? I don't dare to call myself senior. I'm just a dying man trapped in Bitter Cold Prefecture, barely hanging on by a thread. The old man sighed and continued, My surname is Yin. You can call me Old Eccentric Yin. As Old Eccentric Yin spoke, he took a dozen books from a bookshelf. Then, he handed all the books to Lin Feng. Old Eccentric Yin continued, You can rent or buy the books here. Do you want to rent them or buy them? Buy them. How much are these books? Lin Feng asked. 100 immortal stones. Old Freak Yin said. Lin Feng's jaw almost dropped. These books weren't even worth 100 gold coins, let alone 100 immortal stones. However, Lin Feng did not say anything. He simply took out 100 immortal stones and handed them to the old man. Lin Feng was rich and willful. It was a personality that treated money like dirt. Seeing how straightforward Lin Feng was, Old Man Yin let out a strange laugh and said, You're different from the previous guests. What's the difference? Lin Feng asked. They think it's expensive. Old Monster Yin said, The rarer something is, the more precious it is. Your bookstore seems to be the only bookstore in the entire town. Lin Feng said. Old Monster Yin was stunned for a moment before he said, I originally thought that you were a little stupid, but now it seems that you're the smart one. I can't be considered to be extremely smart, but even if there's a second bookstore, I'll still pay you 100 immortal stones. Lin Feng said. Why? Old Monster Yin was confused. Then, he said to himself, Could it be because you're lazy? So you don't want to run a few more steps? Lin Feng said indifferently, No. I have money. I can spend it however I want. That's all. You're an interesting person. The old man smiled. He said, You can read here for a while. I'll go inside to find some things. If there are any customers, please help me greet them. With that, Old Monster Yin walked inside. Can customers come to this damn bookstore? Lin Feng couldn't help but pout. Then, he began to flip through the contents of the books. The contents of these books were all-encompassing. There were all kinds of introductions. For example, there was an introduction to the endless ghost sand, some ancient temples, and some ancient factions. Although the bitter cold state was only the poorest world in the Heavenly Sage Great World. However, it was not that there were no top factions in the bitter cold state. There was a powerful dynasty in the bitter cold state. It was called the Divine Kingdom of Despair. The origin of this divine kingdom of despair was unknown. However, this divine kingdom of despair was incomparably powerful. Moreover, the divine kingdom of despair was extremely hostile to foreign forces. If foreign forces dared to enter the bitter cold state, they would be crazily attacked by the divine kingdom of despair. Because the bitter cold state was located in the northwest, the surroundings were enveloped by the Sacred War Alliance's sphere of influence. So, in history, the Sacred War Alliance had sent an army into the bitter cold state more than once. After all, how could they allow others to snore in their bed? However, every time the cultivator army of the Sacred War Alliance entered the bitter cold state, they suffered heavy losses, several blows. The Sacred War Alliance knew they could not conquer the bitter cold state. So, they never sent an army into the bitter cold state again. When Lin Feng was halfway through reading, a cultivator came to the bookstore. This cultivator, he had a long blade on his back. He was wearing a bamboo hat, so his appearance could not be seen clearly. The aura of this cultivator was extremely terrifying. He was definitely an expert. The boss is not here. If you want to buy books, you'll have to wait for a while. Lin Feng looked at the cultivator with the blade and said. The cultivator with the blade did not pay attention to Lin Feng. Instead, he found a place and stood there. His aura was extremely sharp. His entire being was like a peerlessly sharp treasured saber. Anytime, anywhere, he would unsheath his blade. What a strange person. Lin Feng could not help but mutter in his heart. He did not pay attention to the cultivator with the blade and continued to read. But not long after, the second cultivator arrived. The second cultivator was a one-legged old man. The one-legged old man had a prosthetic leg and was leaning on a walking stick. He was also a powerful figure. Squeak, squeak, squeak. And a monkey with black and white fur was crawling around the one-legged old man's body. The monkey's pupils had a pale green light, as if it could see through the two worlds of yin and yang. But in the eyes of outsiders, the monkey's pupils looked extremely gloomy and terrifying. Immortal monkey. The demon lord's shocked voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Very few things could surprise the demon lord like this, but this strange-looking monkey surprised the demon lord. Obviously, this monkey was extremely extraordinary. Immortal monkey? This name is really strange. Could it be that this monkey has the ability to come back from the dead? Asked Lin Feng telepathically. That's right. Rumor has it that the immortal monkey does have the ability to come back from the dead. This kind of creature is a heaven-defying spirit born in the infernal world. I originally thought that it was just an existence in myths and legends. Who would have thought that such an immortal monkey would actually appear? The demon lord said. The immortal monkey sensed Lin Feng's gaze. It stood on the shoulder of the one-legged old man and bared its teeth at Lin Feng. It seemed to be provoking Lin Feng. At this time, you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.